I guess you would say it's not.
Wait, 1 second.
It's
so
not.
we
Hold on, let me expound.
No. Let him finish, Qtop. You literally just yapped forever.
Let me expound. So, if it's not, we know it's not necessary to have the human body can be sustained without the unalivement of an animal. So when we say animal suffering, it's just going to be the case that the suffering isn't necessary in reference for a human to continue to live. Therefore, the suffering for the animal, it's not. It's unnecessary. It's not necessary at all.
I think I actually see what Qtop is saying, and I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Qtop. I'm going to try to understand what you're saying, just for the sake of my education as well. Is that I think what the heart of what you're trying to get at is you can imagine where animal suffering would be unavoidable, such that they would suffer maybe even greater if they were out in the wild. And if that's could be the case, that an animal would suffer even greater if it wasn't at the hands of a human, then why would you then try to make the case that it's that we shouldn't as humans consume it? Presumably, like imagine it like a Muslim would harm unalive an animal like as quick as if you were to let this.
What? Factory farms and natural suffering, those numbers are not even the same.
What I'm saying, Kylo, is
not even
imagine
close.
that right now, that we would let go of all the animals in the factories.
Nobody's talking about that stupid
they can
dumbass.
still reproduce in the same amount, especially in an uncontrolled environment.
Tim, you're like 90% there. You're like actually that was brilliant, right? What you did, brother. You just categorized my argument in such a way that would allow me to piggyback on that categorization and now expound upon it. Okay?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
All we're simply saying is that they cannot show the antithesis of the proposition to be necessarily true. I like the word that you said when you said possible world, right? Look, all we're simply saying is that necessarily reduced if human beings stop eating them, right? We can just posit a possible world in which animals are in the wild, but they suffer way more because if a lion comes up to a gazelle and if a lion comes up to a cow or to something and bites his neck, they are in terror, bro. They are literally suffering at a way greater rate than if some butcher just takes a knife and slices a cow's throat. Like, we can come up with all these possible scenarios in which human beings don't eat animals, but they're still suffering at a greater rate. So they
in
have
this
to
possible
necessarily
world, are 30,000 pigs being great to make more pig babies? Because you're gonna say a lion unaliving 10 cows. In reference or compare to a factory. Instead of 10 cows, you have 30,000 cows being slaughtered by humans.
Kylo, let's imagine you're right.
What's more suffering? The
Let's imagine you're right.
The lion eating 10 cows, or the human slaughtering 30,000 cows?
He doesn't get it.
Kylo, let's grant you that there would be less of a type of things such as forced pregnancies, and even grant that there's going to be less cows being impregnated and less cows being born. So then that means there's going to be less cows being having to endure the type of suffering that humans cause them. The question then is, why should we accept the position that the suffering is on a whole less, considering that it's possible that these cows in the wild would suffer things like being eaten alive?
Why?
So there's a severity of the suffering being caused.
That's what
Viewed
Why
as
is this being
exponentially
taken
higher.
seriously?
they can't. So look, so the problem that they have, Tim, and this is like I think
Why
a problem
is
that
this being taken seriously?
I have no idea.
very early, right?
We're saying it's
The
murder.
problem that I
Like,
pointed out very, very early was that unless they can give the necessary and sufficient conditions by which we can determine what is suffering and what is not suffering, the argument is just null and void, right? Because I can just say in some possible world in which human beings don't eat animals, that the animals have more suffering, and they have to show why the antithesis of that is true. That's why I'm saying unless they can do that, their argument is null and void, because they're stating a claim. Okay, no problem. I love claims. The Bible makes a bunch of claims. The Quran makes a bunch of claims, right, brother? We love claims. But one thing about claims is we have to justify our claims. And the problem that they have is they cannot show why it is the case necessarily that if human beings stop eating animals, that would mean that it would be necessarily the case that animals would have less suffering. You have to prove that.
Bro, because because humans eating animals promotes the mass production of more animals only to be slaughtered.
Here's the two variant type of impact that you have to investigate. There's multiple types of there's few ways you can measure impact. There's magnitude, which means how many people are how many entities are being impacted. There's frequency, how often it occurs, and there's severity, how insane or severe or like how crazy harmful this thing is. And what I'm trying to say is, all you're referring to is the impact of magnitude. Sure, we can concede there's less amount of things, entities being suffering, but what you're not engaging with is the level of severity. For example, I think you'd be fine if you were to be given two options: one person being unalived, or 100 people being mildly inconvenienced. Which of the two options would you choose that you would prefer? I would imagine that
this isn't analogous. This isn't analogous.
It's 100% analogous.
No, it's not, bro. You're just doing the repugnant conclusion, but for like some sort of weird magnitude of suffering argument, right? Everybody knows about the repugnant conclusion.
RHRN, what I'm trying to explain, and please directly engage and give me an actual rebuttal rather than just saying it's not, right? What I'm saying is, I'm not sure how you're providing a method in which you're deciding something is more or less moral, when the only thing that you're saying is more or less is the magnitude. Now, do you agree that it's reasonable for you to decide, hey, I would prefer 100 people be mildly inconvenienced, and that's something they don't like, and I'm okay with that happening over to one person being unalive if I had one of the two options? The same question lies in this animal.
This exact consistency. No, I'm
Please
showing you.
Let me finish. Please let me finish.
Oh my god.
Please let me finish.
Holy shit, bro.
And the question lies here, and it's analogous, where the question is, how do you know? What the question is? You can imagine that if you stop the human consumption, that it's possible that they would have greater severity of harm.
That's all we're saying.
It's greater severity of harm that animals might go under, such as, I would imagine, being eaten alive. I can imagine that somebody interpreting being.
That's all we're
I
saying.
can imagine somebody.
Look,
Hold on, please.
In both
your line of
situations,
reasoning.
Please let me finish.
Your line of reasoning works against
I know
you.
you're gonna have to let me finish, brother.
Then fucking land the point then, Hatim. This is nonsense.
You're interrupting me. Shut up.
Land the point.
Carlo, would you rather be killed instantly or being eaten alive? That's what I'm asking you right now. What's your answer to that question?
Obviously, I would rather be unalive instantly.
Right, and I'm saying, if you can imagine factory farms where they unalive animals instantly, like they do in Muslim farms that I've visited, that would be preferable potentially than a possible world where you let out these animals in the wild, even though they.
And the possible.
Bro, are you done? Are you done?
Even if they're born in fewer numbers.
Is this a joke? In the possible world where there's no factory farms.
I want you to steel man my position right now. I want
Dude, your position argues against itself. It argues in favor of our position. You're saying, Hatim, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Because I'm tired of this being taken seriously. You're saying, given the option between something that's harmful and something that's less harmful, you should obviously fucking choose the option that's less harmful. Is that your position?
Wow. That is, I'm gonna be honest.
Is that your position? One person being unalived versus 100 people being minorly inconvenienced, yes or no?
Hatim, I'm gonna be honest, brother. Like, according to your holy book, Hatim, do not address this person. Hatim, do not address him. Brother, he's wasting your time. He's wasting your time.
It's easy. It's easy. RHRN. I would say that that's a gross. Hold on. What you just said is trivially true of every moral belief.
Cool. So that's why I'm wondering why. That's why I'm wondering.
Yeah.
That's why. Let me.
It's not the argument that I stated.
You said right. You said magnitude depends on frequency or severity or.
Well, not tracking.
Hey bro. Yes, I am tracking, and I'm gonna prove it to you. Okay. Correct me when I'm done.
Depends on frequency.
You said, shut up. I let you bloviate for 5 minutes. So you said magnitude can be cashed. Hey, shut the fuck up. I let you bloviate for 5 minutes. You said magnitude can be cashed out in terms of frequency, aka how often something. Hey, shut the fuck up. Let me talk. Say I'm done. Say I'm stupid when I'm done.
That's not what you said. Let him finish.
I don't give a fuck, right? This is my conception. It would be better for the conversation for you to point out where I'm understanding.
Explain it then. Let him re-explain it, because you're already wrong, bro.
You said that magnitude can be cashed out. I don't give a fuck what you're saying, bro. Look, I know I got it right, okay? Tell me after I'm done. You said magnitude can be cashed out either in frequency, aka how often something happens, or in number, aka how much something happens, or in severity, aka how crazily bad something is when it happens.
No, bro, that's not what he said.
Holy shit. That's exactly what he said.
That's not what he said,
bro. Impact has magnitude, includes magnitude. So it's not magnitude has those things. Impact.
Cool. So besides that very low semantic dispute, did I get the substance of your point?
Yeah, and I forgot
cool.
one other thing.
So why fucking argue back with me when I got the substance of your fucking point, right? You said magnitude when I said impact, right? Who cares about that? I got the substance right? Okay, yeah, so now let me move on.
Well, all right, if you say it wrong, like, obviously people are going to give you pushback if you're saying, this is what you said, right? And then you say it wrong from the jump, like,
yeah, that's why, Ismar, that's why it's important for me to get the whole conceptual analysis out. That way we can see if it's just a word difference or if it's a substance difference, right? Because we agree at the end, once I got my fucking point off, I got the substance right. Okay.
We agree about what I said, RHRN.
Well, I know. That's why I'm pissed off.
Did you want to make an extrapolation?
I'm saying that when you say, would you rather have one person unalived or 100 people mildly inconvenienced, right? That's just going to be cashed out in one of the three values that you listed, aka mainly the severity versus number. You're trying to draw a distinction between one person and the severity and many people and the frequency, right?
Yes, and
okay.
My analysis was, it's logically possible, right? It's possible that somebody can reasonably differ on that.
Ooh.
So we want to have reasons further than just it's reasonable to interpret it that way, why it's logically necessary. Does that make sense? We understand that.
The reason why this shouldn't be taken seriously, right, is because nobody's advocating for cows to be dropped off in Africa to fend with lions or something, right? Cows, right? If we stopped bestiality graping them into existence, less of them would exist. And all we're saying, just like in the case where would you rather be unalived instantly rather than being inconvenienced 100 times or something, we're saying it would be better if something wasn't experiencing than to be graped into existence to experience suffering. So you are just agreeing with the moral position that we are taking. That's why this is nonsense.
Yes,
that's fine.
All right, 1 second, Tim. I want to help him because he's just kind of been like misarticulating the position. It's very simple, right? It really doesn't even get complicated. All we're saying is that it's possible. Right now, here, this is the key. In order to say it is not possible, you have to show why necessarily that is the case. If we can just provide an argument for it being possible,
Nobody's
that means we were-
arguing against
you're
it being
arguing.
possible, right? Qtop?
Okay, well then
So
what do you say?
listen.
Okay, then that
Yeah, but
means
that's
you
to misunderstand the
cannot,
claim.
That means you cannot make the assertion.
That's
that
to
means you
misunderstand the
cannot.
claim. Look.
That means you cannot make the assertion that eating animals necessarily that not eating animals would necessarily reduce their suffering. If it is possible that it
What
will
do you
not,
mean? Of
then you
course.
cannot make that assertion. You can say I have a reason to believe that. You can say in
Well,
my
you have-
opinion.
you have
but when
reasons
you
to believe
make an
that.
assertion in philosophical circles, and that assertion you're saying that proposition as true, that proposition must be rigorous and articulated and
What?
designed in such a way that the antithesis of the proposition could not be true. So now you just conceded because you said
What?
it's possible.
That's
So the minute you
false.
say that it's possible, that
That's
means you just
obviously
conceded.
false. That's
GG's
obviously
good games.
false.
That's him. He just conceded.
That's
him.
obviously
He just-
false.
your
That's
argument.
obviously
That's
false.
your argument.
You're
he just
confusing.
conceded.
You're
He just
confusing
conceded.
true with
GG's.
necessary, Qtop. Do you understand that?
No. But we're not confusing it because we're not.
That's what
Hatim.
was true when necessary. We're
Hatim.
saying if you're proposing a
Hatim.
proposition as true, and
Look.
oh my gosh, he doesn't
Nobody.
Bro,
Look.
Wow.
Look.
Yes.
No. I'm about to demonstrate that I'm correct again. Look, a world.
No, we agree.
I don't give a
We
fuck.
agree.
Let me finish. A
why
world.
would you-
I don't give a fuck, Hatim.
Okay, bro,
Look,
like, you're just
we agree that when I get to talk more, you agree that I got it right. So let me talk more, okay? A world in which infinite cow suffering exists for infinite time is logically possible. That world is worse than this world. We're nobody's saying that a world like that is not logically possible. We're saying that probably if we were to cash out these things that you value, it would align closely with the position that we're advocating for. So to
Probably.
pretend, sorry, Qtop, wasn't actually done, right? Wasn't actually done, right? Bro,
That's
put
not
the-
an argument that we've been disputing.
Qtop, okay, then you're not fucking listening, Hatim, because you agreed that I got
No,
your.
no.
Oh my
Alright,
god.
Prior to you being here, there
But
were other people
Qtop,
debating.
wait. Okay.
Prior to
Qtop-
you being here, RH, there were other people debating. You know that, right? So we're discussing their argument, not yours, the one that you just came up here with.
But no, RH is right because Qtop's not addressing what we're saying in the present. Qtop's objection.
Ojikano, did you or did you not say that causing the harm of animals from at the cost of humans is going to be necessarily wrong? Did you not say that?
Wait, causing the harm? Wait, what? Whoa.
Did you not say that animals being caused harm at the expense from humans being the source? Did you not say that is inherent, like necessarily wrong?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different problems here, right? RHRN is like making this like philosophical distinction between necessity and truth. Little does he know, I can just be a necessitarian, which I am, and just say that all truth is necessary. So he would have to prove that there's a necessary distinction between necessity and truth, which he cannot do epistemically or ontologically. I would love to go down that rabbit hole with him. That's the first thing. The second thing, one second. The second thing is this, right? My argument, right, it's just simply saying that if you guys are saying, well, I have a reason to believe this, I have no problem with that because I have a reason to believe the antithesis. I'm just saying you cannot pose that as true.
Bro, we have empirical data. We have empirics to show that if you stop factoring farming, mass producing these animals just to be slaughtered, that the animal reduction is going to be the outcome. This is just going to be based off empirics.
Hey, Qtop, I have a question. Qtop, if you're a necessitarian, why are you using possible world semantics?
I didn't use possible.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't subscribe.
You said
to
in a possible world, cows could experience more suffering.
Oh my gosh. Do you not understand the distinction between an internal critique and my worldview? Right? If I'm presenting an argument, let me help.
You use the possible world as a defeater, and then you claim to be a necessitarian. You're an idiot.
Oh my gosh. I don't think a possible world is a defeater in accordance with my paradigm. I am doing an internal critique. I am stepping into your worldview, in which you would hold to possible worlds because you cannot hold to anything other than possible worlds in your worldview. And from there, I am extrapolating out a reasonable antithesis to your proposition. Obviously, you don't know what an internal critique is, RHRN. Obviously, if I'm a necessitarian, I don't believe in possible worlds.
Yeah, so listen. Look,
Okay, what is an internal critique?
It's when you adopt some other person's worldview and semantics to analyze
No.
them Hey,
No.
sorry, I wasn't actually fucking done.
No.
Yeah, sorry.
That is not what it
Sorry. It's when you adopt somebody's
Yeah,
worldview
no,
and
go
sorry, I
with
wasn't
temper
actually
tantrum
done.
like a baby.
As we've
Go ahead.
demonstrated twice so
Throw your
far, when
temper
I'm
tantrum.
allowed to
Alright,
speak,
alright.
it turns out I get the
Throw your-
substance correct.
okay, alright, throw
Right,
your
so
temper
I'm gonna
tantrum.
keep
Let him
going.
finish, Qtop. Let him
Yeah,
finish.
so when I'm allowed to speak, it turns out I get the substance correct. So an internal critique is going to be when you use somebody's ontology, epistemology, and ethical worldview and their semantical constructs and their construals of those constructs to see if there's any internal inconsistency with the view. Is that right, Qtop?
No.
You're dumb.
No, that's not what it is, actually. So I can articulate what internal critique is. You missed something very important. What you do is you actually assume that the propositional content in the worldview is true. You extrapolate out the logical conclusions of the propositional
That's what I
content.
just said.
Once you read, no, that's not what you said. You said that you assume.
Yeah,
You said that you assume. You said that you take their metaphysical. Okay.
You're a dumbass.
Okay. RH, dude. If you're gonna keep interrupting, right? Because you just bloviated, and now I'm responding, showing you why you didn't actually address what I said. Okay. You did not say, right? All you said is that you assume their metaphysical, baggage. That's not all that you do. What you do
I
in
didn't
terms
say
of the Socratic method, right, which is where internal critiques actually, came from. What you're essentially going to do is you're going to be rationalizing their position. You're going to be assuming their propositional content to be true, extrapolating out that propositional content to its logical conclusion, assuming the extrapolation of logical conclusion is true, and then finding holes in the reasoning. That's what you're doing. Okay, you're not just assuming all their metaphysical baggage. You actually have to extrapolate out the metaphysical baggage to its logical conclusions. That's what I'm doing. That's why I said possible world, because I'm extrapolating out
Do you
your
understand?
metaphysical. Sir, mute your mic.
Okay, I will.
I'm
Keep going.
extrapolating out the logical conclusions, saying possible world, showing you how in your worldview there is a possible world in which not unaliving animals literally produce even more suffering. That's all I'm showing you, and you have to show the antithesis of that. See, OG Kylo is very confused. OG Kylo, I don't think you understand, right? You have to show why it is necessarily the case. Why in this possible world that not unaliving animals?
Wait, you're saying if you don't unalive animals, you're harming more animals?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about suffering. So are you using harm and suffering in the same way?
Okay, wait. I don't. Yeah, kind of. Right now, it's just. Yeah, sure. They can be synonymous for now.
Okay.
You're saying,
Okay.
in a possible world where you're not harming animals, you're increasing the suffering.
What I'm saying is, in a possible world where animals are not physically harmed by human beings, the suffering of that animal would be possible that suffering of the animal could be greater than on the antithesis. So what I mean by that is this, right? Hatim proposed a very great example of this, and I'll go ahead and
Are you saying it's an
reiterate that.
increase?
What I'm saying is yes. What I'm saying is it is possible that the suffering
Let's say on this
would
possible
increase.
world, no humans exist. How would it be an increase?
Yes, because it is possible.
Hero, muzzle yourself.
Yes, because it is simply possible, right, that the animals being in an isolated environment in which there is a certain level of suffering, the suffering would be greater across the board if animals are in the wild left alone. Because we cannot just say, right, that the animals who are in the wild would not incur a greater level of suffering. We can look at, again, the magnitude of suffering, but we can't even say based on the magnitude of suffering. How do you know? How can you necessarily state the condition in which could be more animals if there were no humans than less animals if there were no humans? You have to prove that. See, this is the problem. You can't give me any statistical data. Do you understand what stat is? Stat is all inductive reasoning. Okay, you have to prove. You see, all you're doing is you're just presenting
Wait,
an argument.
are you gonna land this point on
You're just
anytime?
presenting an argument for the possibility of your proposition, not an argument for the necessity of your proposition. All I'm doing is just making a counterclaim and just saying that it's possible, bro. You have to prove it's not possible.
I want to understand this. So this is world one. You have natural animals and you have factory animals. This is world two. It's only the natural animals. You're saying in this world there is more suffering?
What I'm saying is in the world where it's just natural animals, it is possible that there could be more animals than in a world where there's natural animals and factory animals. You have to show why that's not possible, bro. This is again
No one's saying that's not possible.
You guys don't understand.
Nobody's saying that's not possible.
Okay, so then what is your argument?
How that's
if it's not possible,
how is that actually any objection to what Autumn was saying originally, that the vegan, if you hold to the position that you want to reduce unnecessary animal suffering, that you ought to be vegan. What you're proposing is not even a defeater or an objection.
Okay, OG Kylo, if you want to just make that assertion, I mean, look, what I'm proposing is just simply the antithesis of a proposition of necessity, right? Now, if you're telling me that your proposition is not necessary, it's just only possible, right? Given these like certain conditionals, I have no problem, brother, saying, Kylo, I agree with you. I have no problem, Kylo, raising my right hand and saying, you know what, Kylo? I agree with you, my brother. I agree. But the problem is when you present your argument in terms of a truth statement. Now, again, in my paradigm, which I can justify my paradigm, but I won't go down the rabbit hole. There is no distinction between necessity and truth, right? So when I hear you pose a proposition that's true, right? I'm going to be trying to find holes to try to figure out if that proposition is necessarily true. Now, if I step into your paradigm and I assume possible worlds, right, it would just be the case that there's a possible world in which not unaliving animals for food, right, would literally produce more suffering for animals, bro. That's all I'm saying. And because you can't show that necessarily, it just goes to follow
You're
that
misunderstanding.
So you cannot.
Can we talk? Can we say something?
Oh my God, muzzle yourself. AB, thanks for the rose. Listen, I feel like, okay, let's engage in the world we're in now. Qtop, are you saying that if we were to if we stop factory farming animals, if humans stop consuming animals, that the suffering would increase in this world we live in currently?
It is possible, yes.
Are you saying it's logically possible, physically possible?
It's all types of possible. Logically possible, all types of possible, brother.
Yeah, it's possible. It just won't happen.
Yeah, it's not likely, or even like.
Can you prove that it won't happen, Cartesian?
What do you mean by prove?
Yeah, we can demonstrate to a high degree of confidence. Yeah.
Okay. When you say high degree of confidence, how do you have a high degree of confidence? Like, what are you basing that high degree of confidence on? Because again, if you're just saying I have a high degree of confidence, that means that it's possible for what you have a high degree of confidence on to be false. So you cannot.
Well, it's based on the available evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, based on the available evidence.
Qtop,
So the available.
What you're misunderstanding. What you're misunderstanding.
So are
what
you
you're
admitting that your
misunderstanding.
argument is using
What you're
induction?
misunderstanding is you're saying that vegans are making some claim that veganism is necessary in all possible worlds or something. Obviously, that's a ridiculous, stupid claim, right?
I didn't say vegans are making a claim that's necessary in all possible worlds.
Then why are you entering this dialectic as if you're doing that?
You're really
sure, I'm using induction.
You're really confused. Well, the first issue with that is that you don't have a grounding for induction. That's another conversation. The second issue.
What does that mean? Wait, let's go piece by piece.
Cartesian, please don't interrupt me. Please interrupt me.
Okay, finish. Go ahead.
I would appreciate if you put it. Yeah, just put that muzzle on, brother. Okay. So yeah, and the second problem is that within induction, right? The problem of using induction in this case is that any like statistical analysis using induction, you're going to be isolating certain variables. You have to explain why those variables being isolated in a specific context that they're being isolated in. You can extrapolate out that data set to the whole. That's the problem with any sort of inductive framework using statistics. What you're doing is you're using a statistical analysis, right? And you're isolating certain variables and saying, okay, well, due to these certain variables, I believe that if we stop, factory farming animals and we extrapolate that out to the whole, then it would necessarily.
He's just repeating himself.
Okay, Cartesian, if you interrupt me one more time, I'm not going to engage with you. I'm about to land my plane. If you interrupt me one more time, I'm not going to.
Repeated himself.
Okay, sir. Shut your
so
mouth.
I guess to respond to what he said. The first thing he brought up is okay, well, you aren't able to ground induction. I just say, okay, what does it mean?
Let him.
Let's skip the meta.
Exactly. I'm not really sure what he means.
Stop. Just land.
Made a second point about
okay. I'm just gonna be
Cartesian. So there really is
Cartesian, bro. Wait. I'll actually exercise impulse control, brother. Unlike you, I'll let Cartesian speak. No.
Are you done? Okay.
Cartesian,
let's have
no
a regular dialogue.
Let him speak.
Here.
Like I said, the first point about what you can't ground induction, I'm not sure what he means by I'm not even sure what it means to ground induction. So it's really just not clear what he's saying. He made a kind of jumbled up point about statistical inference, and that was just equally as unclear. Like, I don't know if anybody even understood what he was talking about, or even if he understands what he's talking about. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
pretty much the whole conversation, the
break
answer to that
into
has
it a
been
bit.
no.
Yeah, so pretty much Cartesian's objection is I'm not incoherent and intelligent enough to understand words. And so rather than asking clarifying questions, I'm just going to say, I don't understand. So let me go ahead
Does
and
anybody
for the
think that
second
was
time,
charitable?
Let me articulate both problems I raised with you, maybe in greater detail so that your like incoherent ability to process can be like sufficiently expounded upon here. Okay, the first problem I said is the problem of induction, right? You have no uniformitarian principle in nature to ground or to make future predictions about anything, right? In terms of some sort of epistemic framework. So let me give you an example, right? When I throw up a ball in the air and the ball drops, and I throw up a ball in the air and again the ball drops, you have no epistemic way under your worldview for even making any predictions about the future because you cannot empirically verify what the future is. All you have is empiricism. Okay. The second point I made is that under statistical analysis, when we're talking about any sort of farm, right, and they're going there and they're analyzing, okay, factory farming, and we're looking and we're isolating all these variables within any statistics. Okay, to statistics works. Maybe you've never taken a stat class. The way that statistics work, I'm going to speak very slowly so that everyone can grasp this. Statistics works by isolating a variable in a data set. So we isolate certain variables in a data set. Once we isolate those variables, we assume that the variables isolated in that data set, when they are expounded upon, it will lead us to a conclusion based upon the initial variables that we isolated in the data set. So the problem with statistics is, let me give you an example. If we take 10 people and we say, okay, out of these 10 people, 2 other people get sick when they take this specific pill. And we analyze another 10 people and we say, okay, 2 of the people get sick when they take this pill. We then take that data and we extrapolate it out to the majority and we say, okay, well, based upon the sample size, that's a key word in statistics, sample size, we extrapolate out from that sample size to the majority of the data set to then come to a conclusion based upon the conditionals of the isolated variable.
Yeah, OG Kylo, OG Kylo, he's clearly trolling. There's no point. He's just clearly trolling.
Kylo, brother, I don't like this about your lives, brother. I don't like this about your lives. The fact that I am literally articulating myself for the second time, and I'm trying to explain to brother, and he keeps interrupting, brother. I'm gonna
What's even the point of this?
I want you to still man.
What's even the point of this? It's just trolling.
I want you to still man my Cartesian. I want you to still man me, Cartesian.
He's also still continuing to talk over me.
The problem.
Hey, I'm not gonna respond to anything he said. Like, he's obviously trolling. There's just no point
yeah.
This.
See, yeah. That's
Wait,
what I thought,
so
Cartesian. That's
let me ask you a question.
Okay, you're not intellectually sufficient enough to even respond.
Hold on, let's get the meta.
So yeah, that's what I thought. I'm no longer addressing Cartesian. Matter of fact, I will never. Hear my words, guys. I will never put this on my words. I will never address Cartesian ever again. I will never address. He's not worth my time. All he does is just say, I don't understand.
Skip the meta. I wanna. So you're saying?
I'm getting my mic. He won't address anything I'm saying. I'm not going to address Cartesian
You don't
ever
have
again.
to address Cartesian.
I'm done with
That's
Cartesian.
Totally
he's a
fine.
waste of time and he's a waste of space.
Qtop. So you said we wouldn't be able to verify that not unaliving animals would reduce factory farming because of some problem with this data set, or that the methods we're utilizing is gonna. You said induction had a problem, right?
Yeah, so I made 2 points. Obviously, Cartesian wasn't coherent enough to even address those, which is just shows his like intellectual.
Bro, we're not
ineptitude,
talking about
right?
Cartesian right
So
now.
So the 2 points I made. It's not meta, it's truth. Okay, meta doesn't deal with truth.
Oh, can meta be true?
What the fuck, bro?
Can you define what you mean when you say meta?
Let's get back.
Yeah, because he's just using words that he can't define, and then he's trying to put his own semantics.
Why are you harping on every comment?
Wow, more meta. Wow, more meta. Wow, more meta. Let's wait for the substance. Let's wait for the substance.
Are you using a formal definition or an informal definition?
Back to the point, bro. You said the induction was the problem in reference to calculating not or not unaliving the animals would reduce suffering. So what was the problem with that?
No, so the original. Okay, so I say there are two problems, right? And they're both problems in assuming an inductive position, right? Just any inductive position will have the problem of, again, assuming that because there is not, or essentially stating that because you are not able to show the necessity of the proposition as true, right? You're just stating the proposition as possible, which again is inductive. And within inductive reasoning, right, you cannot state anything as true as the antithesis of the conclusion, right, can also be true, right? So like, for instance, right, when I throw a ball up in the air, I can't say it is true that the ball is going to fall. I can make a prediction. And I can say, well, the ball it will probably fall. And again, under a Christian worldview, I can actually make that prediction. If you're not a Christian, you can't. But I can make that prediction. I can say, well, the ball will probably fall, right? But I can't say that it's true that the ball is going to fall. So again, like, I'm just simply stating that, like, if you're going to say, well, it's probably the case that if we don't unalive animals, it will reduce other it will reduce, animal suffering. And then I'll say, okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that. But what I won't get behind is you guys stating it as true. That's what I won't get behind. If you just say it's probably the case based upon the evidence that we have, I'll say, okay, look, it's probably the case. But what I won't, but when you state it as true,
you just have to isolate and identify conditional antecedents.
That's actually what. So are you saying even if the vegan is gonna say, it would be more likely that not unaliving the animals for consumption would reduce the suffering? You don't have a problem with that, right?
Well, what I'm saying is that the non-vegan could make a case for the antithesis as well, right? And so based upon the evidence that you're using, no problem, you can make your case. But I'm saying the non-vegan could also make their case as well.
Yeah, but you're appealing to some counter possible,
and it's dependent upon the paradigm that you're going to be starting with, right?
You're depending on some counter possible, right?
I'm not just depending upon some counter possible. I'm saying that because there is a counter possible, right? Is if A then B, we have B necessarily entails A. Because there's a counter possible to A, right?
What?
That can explain A. This is called. Do you understand propositional logic, sir?
Yeah, more meta. Keep going with your point.
How was that meta? Bro, I'm asking you a question.
Look, you said A implies B, therefore if B.
What is meta?
Sorry.
What was the
inference? What is meta, bro? I'm asking you a question, bro. What is meta, homie?
Bro, get your ugly ass off the camera.
Orange, turn on your camera, bro.
Nuh-uh.
What is meta?
You can't make me. You can't make me.
Homie, yes, that's what I thought.
You can't make me.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm not medding. I asked you a question because you don't understand propositional logic. I said if A then B, we have B that necessarily entails A. That's propositional logic. What do you mean meta? You're absurd. You're incoherent. That's what you are, bro. That's not meta. So to explain what I was saying, right? If it is a counter possible, that means there is also evidence that could be used to support that counter possible, right? Because that means the evidence is possible to support the counter possible. The only way there cannot be evidence to support
that's incorrect.
Bro,
right there.
Okay, dude, I'm going on mute, bro. OJ Kyle, but this is why, bro,
but
I'm saying,
hey, Qtop, you said you're going on mute. Be a man of your word, okay? Yeah, you said that the evidence right now.
Nah, Julie, let RN speak.
Yeah, so you said I would agree with you guys. I would concede that the evidence and the data we have said that it's most likely the case, right, that animals would suffer less if we ate them less, right? Hey, Qtop, just stay muted, and I'll be done in one more sentence. And then you said there's a possible world where the evidence that we have supports the possible world, not the evidence that we have right now, right? You've already conceded that the evidence that we have strongly favors the reduction of suffering. Is that correct?
No, that was not my position at all. So I'll go ahead and I'll repeat my position. What I said was, assuming your paradigm and that paradigm corroborating the particular evidence that is being presented under a isolated variable statistical framework, right? I can say, well, yeah, under that paradigm and with that specific evidence, under those specific statistics isolating those specific variables, we'll get this conclusion. But what I'm saying is, hey, dude, come on, bro.
More meta. Let's hear it. Let's get the meta going. Yes, more meta. Yeah, more meta. More meta.
Can I just finish a thought? Y'all gotta understand, thought. This is not even high level thought. Bro. This is genuinely like not even high level thought.
More
this
meta,
right?
more meta. Let's wait for the substance again.
I want to be able. Oh my. Okay, I'm just gonna go on mute. You guys say meta after you interrupt me, and then now apparently I'm metaing because I can't finish.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Go for it. No, please
Guys,
continue. Please
You guys
continue.
are talking about two different types of arguments. From the onset, what me and Qtop have said, that the arguments that if a vegan wants to make, that it's necessarily the case, that's the one that's obviously on a case
Look,
false.
Hatim,
Autumn
question.
never said that. I never said that.
Yeah.
I've literally said that multiple times, brother.
But that wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's a straw man.
Saying.
We agree that
No,
you guys
I'm
can
saying-
straw man, right? That's why it's been nonsense.
No. You're
Thank
not
you,
hearing
Judy.
me.
Thanks for the gift.
Wait,
But none of
you're
us,
not hearing me.
no vegan on this
You're not
panel
hearing-
said that.
Brother, please calm down. I
What's
want you to
the-
hear what I'm saying.
Look,
Please calm down.
everyone
Please
agrees.
calm down.
What's
Please
the
calm
point
down.
of making that rebuttal
Please
if it doesn't
calm
address?
down.
Hatim, you're straw manning.
No, can I explain to you how I'm
Don't
not?
don't say
Is it
no.
possible that I can explain how I'm not?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to explain to you that I'm not straw manning because this is the. Fuck, hold on. I'm playing a fight right now.
Cool. Yeah, so the reason that you are straw manning, I don't know if you were talking to somebody else before, but like we've
Yes,
established.
that's what I was saying the whole time. I was
Yeah,
talking to somebody else
cool.
before.
Yeah, cool. So we agree that anybody who
I
says
wasn't
that
saying it was your position,
I don't-
RN.
I don't
Do you
care.
think I said
It's not
that it was
it's not
your
necessary.
position
It's
ever?
not necessary.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be relevant for the people up here.
It was because this is something that Autumn and or you, Kylo, have stated.
Autumn never said it was
maybe-
necessary.
And that's why I said and or you, Kylo.
Hey,
You know
Hatim,
that word?
usually what people say is unnecessary suffering is bad.
Suffering. That's what we've been saying verbatim.
Yeah.
Yes. What? Okay.
There's a
listen to
prefix
what I'm
there,
saying.
right? Necessary means true in all possible worlds. Unnecessary is a more
No, it's
colloquial,
not.
like not needed kind
Necessary
of way.
doesn't mean true in all possible worlds.
Hold on.
Necessary
I
doesn't
agree
mean
with
it
you.
doesn't-
Wait, orange. I agree with you. That's a trivial thing. Obviously, via definition
Cool.
of what the words unnecessary suffering by virtue
Cool.
of the definition,
Cool.
it's bad.
Okay.
But the question is whether or not veganism achieves, and all things considered, that it is the preferred.
Yeah.
world.
Okay.
That's what-
Okay. So then, can I ask you a couple questions?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you currently consume animal products that you buy from grocery stores?
Yes.
Cool. If you didn't, would you be contributing less to animal suffering?
And all things considered, maybe and maybe not.
Look. Okay. Cool. If do you agree? Okay. So is it morally good to vote with your dollar for cows to be bestiality graped into existence for burgers when you buy corpses at Whole Foods?
You're probably making an inductive argument, right?
I'm asking you a question. Is it morally good to pay for corpses at Whole Foods?
In
I don't
general,
care
yes.
about what you're saying if it's not an answer to my
Yes,
question.
yes,
Cool.
in general, yes.
Cool. So, ought one be in line? You said it's morally good?
Yes, in general, yes.
Okay, it's morally good to pay for the torture of animals at Whole Foods, yeah? Okay,
No. The opposite.
Okay.
I would imagine.
It's-
I mean. Well,
okay,
I don't actually-
Hatim,
but
okay,
I
if you're
understand
saying, listen,
It's delicious. Damn.
if you're saying it's morally bad, then my next question is, ought one be in line with their moral intuitions?
Yes. I don't
Okay,
disagree.
are you vegan?
Huh?
Are you vegan?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
Because I
then
don't
you
have-
are not in line. Then you are not, sorry, then you are not in line. Sorry, let me land. Then you are not in line with your moral intuition, so you have an inconsistent worldview.
What I'm.
That's called
brother. Am I allowed to
cognitive
explain?
dissonance.
Am I allowed to explain?
Yeah, you can explain why you have a contradictory position. That's fine. Yeah, sure.
Brother, I need you to calm the fuck down. Because
Him not acting in accordance of his worldview is not a contradiction, right? It's just like him.
Yeah,
not
it's just
acting in
irrational. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Wait. What I'm trying to say is I was actually confused about your question because I thought you were trying to ask, is it logically like is it like inductively the case? Hold on.
I wouldn't even say it's irrational. It's just immoral, right?
Yeah, I thought you were trying to make the inductive argument about what a typical vegan position would be, not about my personal view, because I just don't have the same root value of value.
Yeah, okay, then I guess
relevant to this, which is not relevant to this.
Cool.
Because as I've tried to make clear earlier that there isn't a disagreement between us. Remember, if you recall earlier, that there actually isn't a disagreement, so there's no need to talk about it, because the argument that me and Qtop were
look, I don't care about a past argument. Engage with me now.
If that's not the one you
Cool.
hold, there's no
Engage with me
about
now. I don't care about a past argument. Look, the question is going to be, do you...
I'm not interested in engaging with this argument right now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, then I'll just leave you to think about this question, and it is, what reasons do you have to take the life of something that doesn't want to die when you don't have to do that? That's the question that you can ponder about.
I don't think like their life is like valuable. So now
Nobody gives a fuck what you're saying, Hero. There are people that I actually care about on the panel that I want to talk to.
Yeah, you were right. He said, this is what she said. Autumn said that it's gonna be the case that like if we stop analyzing animals, right, we want it will stop. She was they say it's probable that it will stop. He said it would stop, and it will there will be what is making that noise? There will be less animal suffering. She didn't say it will be more likely.
Talking about unnecessary animal suffering.
So all it is, it just gets boiled down to the axiomatical expectation mixed match problem, which is essentially a problem in philosophical circles in which a person believes that their moral intuitions, given a certain propositional set, right?
Yo, Justin. I didn't even know I was on panel, guys.
Yeah, Justin, what just came out of your ass is totally despicable, bro. I know, Justin.
How did I get on panel?
I know you've been eating animals without how that shit sounded, bro. That shit sounded despicable, bro. That shit sounded like you just, bro. That shit sounded like you just ate a cow, bro. That shit sounded like you just went to McDonald's and ate like 3 Big Macs, bro. It's on the toilet, bro. You've been eating animals with that type of gas.
No, I couldn't tell if it was Justin or Qtop talking.
No.
Bro,
Yeah,
the way that Qtop farted and blamed it on Justin was crazy.
Bro, look,
you little farter.
You know what's really interesting about this dialogue? I don't actually eat meat. I'm actually a vegan, and it's not for any moral reasons. It's because
cool. Nobody cares.
Show
me your refrigerator, Qtop.
Show you my refrigerator? I'll show you my refrigerator right now. I'll show you my refrigerator right now.
I want to see how honest you are.
Dude, I will show you my refrigerator, bro.
Show me your refrigerator.
Okay, I'll show you my refrigerator right now.
Don't take the
Are you
chicken
a health vegan? Are you a health vegan or an ethical vegan?
I'm not any of those. I don't like the taste of meat. That's simple. I've never eaten.
So like an aesthetic vegan.
If you want to call it that, I'll show you my fridge right now.
That's like Kylo's vegan because he thinks that meat is gross.
Oh. Yeah, I don't like meat. So this is my freezer. This is all vegan. Look. Morning Star Farm. It's all vegan. It's all vegan. You see what I mean? So y'all think I'm talking about this? Look, waters, all vegan, bro. This is sweet potatoes in here. Hey, look, egg from plants. Look at that, egg from plants.
Okay, so wait, you're just LARPing? W actually.
What the fuck is that?
That's what I gotta know. Like,
All I'm saying is that I can talk about bullshit. I can talk about this. You feel me? So I'm not coming up here eating animal. I've actually never consumed any animal product pretty much my entire life. So I can talk about this, and I'm telling y'all this is an axiomatical expectation mismatch problem is what you guys are doing. You guys are affirming that your moral intuitions in terms of not killing animals should somehow correspond to reality in such a way that we should stop killing animals for this particular reason. What I'm saying is, no, this is an axiomatical expectation mismatch problem. Just because your moral intuitions tells you that we should not kill animals to reduce some type of level of suffering, that doesn't mean that we should not. All I'm saying is that in some possible world, right, there is possible evidence not in accordance with your paradigm, and the conditions that you're using to isolate those variables in your statistical framework, in which I can just say there's evidence that can lead to the conclusion that not unaliving animals will actually produce more animal suffering for them.
We addressed
That's
this.
all I'm saying. And I don't even eat animals. So I can talk. I've eaten less animals than everybody on the panel.
Yeah, but Qtop, we addressed this.
Yes, I have. I've never consumed any animal product, bro.
How do you know it tastes bad?
Bro, because I consumed it like probably one time as a baby.
Contradiction. Back to L's.
It irritates my stomach.
Okay, wait, but Qtop,
I should never say never because I did consume it.
Wait, but Qtop, we already addressed this, right?
I don't eat animal products.
We already addressed that nobody's making like the necessary claim, so it's not going to be a counter possible that debunks the whole, you ought be vegan, right? It's not something like that that's going to debunk the whole moral normative claim, right?
Okay, 1 second. If you're talking about oughts and ought nots, now this is a totally different conversation.
I know.
You're talking about animal suffering.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about we ought and ought not do something, now we're in a moral conversation, and now we're in something totally different.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going with? That we ought not do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now you're gonna have to defend that. So why in the world? Okay. First of all, do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
The Christian one, the only true one, obviously.
Our HRN is not a Christian. He just doesn't want to get into this conversation with
Yeah, I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist.
He just, bro. Wait, who's an atheist?
I am.
Okay, so why must the world? Why must we have moral obligations in an atheist world? Prove that there are moral obligations in an atheist world.
Yeah, because I think that morals are objective.
I don't care what you think. Prove something. That there's you thinking something and proving and justifying something are two totally different things. I want you to prove. In an atheist world.
So I think one of the things that is true objectively is that causing harm when harm is not.
I don't care about what you think. That's subjective. You can't
bro.
say I think this thing is true objectively.
Hey bro.
Objectivity doesn't care what you think. I'm asking you. He's not engaging.
You interrupted me. But you interrupted me. Should we interrupt each other or no?
I think right now is the
I want you to address my question. You're not
Yeah, I want you to not interrupt me. When I say I think,
I don't care what you want. I asked you a question.
I don't care what you want.
Address
Then.
my question.
Yeah, I'm gonna address your question, right? But if you interrupt me, I'm just gonna go back to my original point.
You did okay, so perfect. I want you.
Cool.
I'm gonna go on mute. I want you to address my question.
Cool.
So I'm gonna go on mute right now.
Yeah. So your question was why it's true that causing harm when harm is not needed is morally bad. It's true. If you're asking for proof, like what makes it true, it's not made true by anything. Just like the laws of logic aren't made true by anything, right?
Okay, stop. First of all, that was just committed. First of all, you didn't justify anything. You're just making assertions. That's called an appeal to. You just committed. That's an appeal to stone. Okay. You can't just make an assertion and say your assertion is true without any evidence. Okay. So and you can't and also you can't say that any assertion that I make is not true based upon you just saying that it's not true. An appeal to stone fallacy works in both ways. You cannot state an assertion and state that assertion is true without justifying that assertion is true. So essentially, you're saying that moral obligations are just brute facts. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was just LARPing like you were. I'm a subjectivist.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'm glad that you admit that you did not engage with anything. Also, you said the laws of logic don't have any explanation. The laws of logic are made.
Yeah, I said I was.
Hey, sir.
I was LARPing
because you just said that I was interrupting you, and now you're interrupting me.
True.
The laws of logic are necessarily dependent upon the existence of God, the unifying principle that dictates what is and what cannot be. And that's our identity state that dictates ontologically and imposes the correct way of thinking about the world in such a way that the world is designed and we can actually use these methodological conditions to get to necessary truth, which is the laws of logic. Apart from God, you cannot ground the laws of logic because the laws of logic are a reflection of the mind of God, the unifying principle that dictates what is
Prove that.
and cannot be. So don't you dare come up here.
Wait, how do you ground the mind of God?
Prove that.
Wait, how do you ground the mind
Wait,
of God?
prove that.
Because even the laws of logic,
Prove that. Prove that. Prove that. Prove that. Bro, are you done?
Justify anything that exists in objective reality. If God does not exist, then nothing exists, and the fact that something exists means that God has to necessarily exist.
Wait, why should we?
So what you don't understand So what you don't understand is that when you state something as true, you have to justify that as true.
Wait. Same as you though. You said you
I
don't.
know I have to. I have no
so then
problem
you said
justifying what I'm saying.
the basis of your position is another brute
She
fact.
is the one making the claim, so it's justified. What
You just made like a ton of claims. You just made a ton of claims in that last spiel, bro.
Oh my gosh.
You just said
Okay,
that there's all
okay,
these
no
things that
problem.
are necessary,
It's
and the
Mar.
only
It's Mar.
brute fact-
It's
and
Mar.
the only
It's
brute
Mar.
fact is the
It's
existence of
Mar.
God.
It's Mar. It's Mar. It's Mar. The claims I made
Qtop,
was an objection to the claims he made. Point out one claim I made and I'll justify
See how
it.
stupid it is?
Point out one claim I made and I'll justify it.
You said God exists. God's existence is a brute fact.
Okay, yes.
Okay, prove it.
So we justify this by showing how God is necessary.
No, I didn't say to justify. I said prove it.
Okay, Ismar. Oh, justification is proof. Are you absurd?
Go ahead. No,
What's this
it's
thing? Oh, bro, wow. Ismar, what is the distinction between justification and proof?
Sorry?
What is the distinction between justification
Nothing.
and
Go ahead.
proof?
Nothing. Give the justification.
Okay, so then why would I say
You're
I'm
right. I
gonna
was wrong.
justify
No
it?
problem.
Did you say,
I don't mind
did you
being
ask
wrong.
me
I'm not a
to
crybaby.
prove it?
I don't mind
Dude, you're
being
literally
wrong.
absurd. I'm trying to make
Okay,
dude,
you're right.
literally
Don't cry.
absurd. You're literally
Don't
absurd. So
cry.
one
Give the
second, before I
justification for the
justify
brute
that,
fact.
before I
Give the
prove it,
justification
before I prove it, on the panel,
It's
I want
okay.
to say
Don't cry. Don't try to
OG
run. Don't try to
I want to say OG Kylo.
Give the justification to
The
the brute
reason
fact.
why, OG Kylo, I just want to say this just 1 second. The reason why, brother, like,
Qtop,
why I want to
Qtop,
speak on
don't
these
run
things, because
away.
I just go, OG Kylo, you see, brother, I'm a man of my word. I showed you my refrigerator. I had no meat in there, bro.
Why you guys
I have
doing
all
that? You're
vegan
fucking
products.
clown.
Okay, OG Kylo, so I want to just, like I said, brother, man to man, you've seen that. So that's, okay, now,
Okay,
now,
what's the
I'm gonna go for
justification
that.
for the brute
Fair-
fact?
fair-
Now,
fair point.
now, okay.
What's the justification for the brute fact?
Chill, Ismar, chill.
Hold on.
We gotta
Hold on.
let's
OG Kylo,
de-escalate. I got
what-
you. He can.
Hold on,
he-
but you
if-
let him do this to
Hold
everybody.
on. If he says he's gonna
You let him do
justify
this to
it,
everybody, bro.
I don't really want to hear the yelling. So let's just have a.
Okay, then why do you let him do this to everybody?
Yeah, he's
I'm
having a
pushing it right back to him.
at this point, you should just kick him. He's having a temper.
Look. See, he fucking
And
wants to
actually,
run your shit. He wants to run your shit.
I'll let you. I'll let Qtop. I'll let you justify it. Then I want to get back on topic. I don't want us to de-escalate so far. So you could justify the claim, and then we could bring this back to some type of collection.
No problem. So yeah, the claim that God's existence has no explanation is what we call a self-authenticating proposition, meaning that the antithesis of the proposition, the propositional content or conditions needed to deny the proposition affirms the proposition. So to explain it to you, it's just like this, right? We create a performative transcendental argument that in order for there to be unity and diversity in the world, there has to be an identity state, because the diversity is the antithesis of the ultimate identity state. So when I state that God is a brute fact, I'm just simply saying there is a necessary identity state in formal reality that if that necessary identity state does not exist, then everything that you state as a proposition with any sort of truth value would necessarily be contradictory, because it is not in ultimate reference to the identity state. To put it to you in layman's terms, if reality does not have ultimate context, then there is no reality to even speak of. So when you ask me to prove that God is a brute fact, that statement in itself is self-refuting, because you're asking me.
We just have to accept it.
You're asking me to use conditions of principles of validity, like logic, like reason, in which I am able to then show that God is a brute fact. But you don't understand that even our ability to reason and use strict principles of validity has to be grounded in an identity state, which shows the identity state is giving ultimate
So you're saying it has to be
to
true
the brute
because
fact.
no reason.
So what I'm saying is, in order for you to reject that God is a brute fact, you have to affirm that God is a brute fact. So now that you've heard my argument, what are the conditions that
was
you
just
use
another
to
claim.
What are the conditions that was not okay? Do you want me to present it to you in a logical syllogism? Maybe that will help you.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, do you know what a logical syllogism is?
Yeah.
Before I present it. Okay. What is a logical?
Well, I'm not answering your quiz. I know what
What
it
is a
is.
syllogism?
No, we're not gonna do the trivia, bro.
No, because I know the reason.
We're not going to do the trivia.
The reason is because he's lying. He doesn't know what a syllogism is.
Kylo, the reason why I have to ask this is because when I present the argument, I have to know that he even understands the
More
type
meta.
of
Wow.
argument I'm
Wow.
presenting.
More meta. Wow.
So if he does
Wow.
not
Let's
understand
wait for the
type of argument I'm
substance
presenting,
again.
I
Let's
can't
wait
no
for
point
it.
in me presenting an argument that he doesn't
Let's
even
wait for the
understand.
substance from
But
Qtop.
I'll just assume that he knows it, even though he doesn't. I'll just assume that he knows it. No problem. Okay. Premise number 1: in order to deny God as a brute fact, you must affirm God as a brute fact. Premise number 2:
I reject P1.
You cannot
I
deny
reject
God as a
P1.
brute fact.
I reject
Therefore,
P1.
you cannot
I
deny
reject
God as a brute
P1.
fact.
I reject
Therefore, God is a
P1.
brute fact.
Yeah.
Okay,
What's your
so-
second
okay,
stage
so go
argument
ahead.
for P1?
What?
What's your second stage argument for P1?
Yeah. What do you mean by a second stage argument?
Do you not know what a second stage argument is? Wow, trivia time? Yeah, what's your argument? What's your argument? Here, I'll break it down for you. What's your argument where P1 of that argument is the conclusion for this argument?
Oh my gosh.
You understand it now, dumbass? You understand it now, dumbass? What's your second stage argument for P1?
That aren't self-authenticating.
What's the second stage argument for P1?
Bastard.
What's the second stage argument for P1?
For propositions
What's the second stage argument for P1? What's the second stage argument for P1? What's no, I don't. No, I don't.
To determine that anything else to be a brute fact besides the existence of God. You don't understand how secondary arguments work, okay?
When you say
P1, you can't present a secondary argument to P1 unless you can show how P1 is not necessarily self-authenticating. That's how it works. When I say P1 is self-authenticating, what I mean by that is any denial of P1 leads to a contradiction. You have to show how you can deny P1 and it not lead to a contradiction. I'm affirming P1 as self-authenticating. Do you not know what a self-authenticating proposition is?
Wait, Qtop, are you saying that P1 doesn't have to be substantiated because it's self-authenticating and that let's say someone just says that they
Kylo, listen, it substantiates itself. It's not that it does not need to be substantiated. What I'm saying is P1 substantiates itself. And if you reject that P1 substantiates itself, then you have to show why it necessarily does not substantiate itself.
I have a question. Wait, I think I understand. I have a question. So, Qtop, just so I can track. My question is, what's the second stage argument for premise 1?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We're not moving on. We're not moving on.
He said that he understood and he doesn't understand. So
I do understand, right? You're trying to shift the burden.
Okay, I have a genuine question.
Oh my gosh.
Alan, 1 second. What's the second stage argument for premise 1?
You know what let me ask this. Kylo, I'm gonna talk to Kylo now because Kylo is really smart. Kylo, do you know what a self-authenticating proposition is? Or a zero premise based argument? Do you know what a zero premise based argument is?
What would it be something like you would say P is P or that it's self-evident?
Yeah, so like essentially if I say certainty exists and you say, well, I don't think certainty exists, and I say, well, are you certain that you don't think that certainty exists? It's what we call self-authentication, right? Because the denial, the necessary and sufficient conditions that it takes to deny the proposition affirms the proposition. So when I say that P1 is self-authenticating, what I'm saying is there is no argument that can be made for the denial of P1
Does that make P1 true?
In such a way that it does not lead to a contradiction. That means that P1 substantiates itself. It's called a zero premise-based argument.
You're talking about
it's
credence.
It's literally called a zero premise. You can look this up. It's called a zero premise-based argument. This is a zero premise-based argument. Is that you cannot deny P1 without contradicting yourself. That's what I'm showing. So again, if you believe you can deny P1 without contradicting yourself, then you have to show how you can do that.
How would you demonstrate that? Okay, I get what you're... Wait, so the demonstration that P1 is self-authenticating is that any rejection is...
a contradiction, and not a logical contradiction, not even a non-logical, a logical contradiction.
So are you saying if no objections are presented that it's necessarily true?
No, I'm not saying if no objections are presented. I'm saying in order to present an objection, it affirms P1. This is called a performative transcendental argument. This is a heavy tag argument, right? The argument. This is where people say, oh well, you know, all tag they can't prove P1. You don't understand. P1 proves itself.
But we have tag too.
In order for you to reject P1, you have to present the antithesis of P1 as not being contradictory, but not even just look. Typically, this is how typical logical syllogisms work.
No matter.
Typical logical syllogisms work in induction, right? So if you can just show how it's like you know nomologically possible, right? Then you would actually then I would have to concede. But we're showing how P1 the rejection of P1 is literally logically impossible. Not even just nomologically, not even just like any other. We're saying it is logically impossible to reject P1. And if you're saying it is not logically impossible to reject P1, then you have to show how it is not logically impossible to reject P1.
Yeah, look, I can show you how. I can show you how. I reject P1 The world is still here. We didn't collapse into absurdity, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good
So
job,
what's the
RHRN.
second stage
I'm
argument?
gonna clap it up for you, bro.
What's the second
that was actually
stage?
Really good.
Yeah, look.
Brother. Wow. Look.
Yeah, do it without your
Good
hands
job,
now.
bro. That's it.
Do it without your hands now.
1 second, brother. Brother, you got me. That's it right there.
Cool,
Everybody,
W concession.
already got me, guys.
W
because
concession.
We're still here, and we didn't collapse to absurdity because God obviously exists.
Cool, W concession.
RH got me.
Yeah, so what? My question is,
Hold on, dude.
My question is,
Go to
what's the second stage? What's the second stage argument for P1?
You just beat it, RHRN. Congratulations.
Q-tip, please take a deep breath. Jeez.
Alyssa, I don't want to talk to you.
I know you don't want to talk to me. That's why you have me
Alyssa, I don't know
blocked,
why
because I fooled you every time we have a conversation. I'm trying to help you out right now. You're crashing, and I need you to take it down a few notches. It's literally 10 in the morning. Okay? Can you do that for me? Can you take, like, 4 deep breaths while we try to have a dialogue here, like adults?
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Q.
Appreciate that.
Hi, guys. What is Q crashing about right now?
Tag P1.
Using statistics.
Hold on.
Knows background about.
We have this premise that is supposedly self-authenticating, and the justification that it's self-authenticating is that any rejection leads to some derivative contradiction.
And he hasn't demonstrated that yet. Yeah.
The only thing that I'm confused on is what's the verification that the premise is self-authenticating?
Yeah.
Even if no one presents an objection.
Because I can only think of one other argument that has a self-authenticating proposition. I mean, but that argument is obviously true, and it's just like, if knowledge and intelligibility are possible, naturalism is true. Knowledge and intelligibility are possible, therefore naturalism is true. Therefore, like, Christian God can't be true, right? And that P1 is just going to be self-authenticating. So, Qtop, do you have a defeater for that? Because any defeater just collapses.
I'm going to be honest, if you don't, I think you owe these guys $1,000.
Yeah, so RHRN
What's
just
that, brother?
presented the most laughable argument. So RHRN, let's actually go ahead and examine your
Let's
argument.
do
Are
it.
you saying that P1 is self-authenticated,
Yeah,
sir?
I can demonstrate
Okay,
it.
can you state P1 to me?
Yeah, if knowledge and intelligibility are possible, then naturalism is true.
Oh my gosh. Did you just state an if conditional saying that it's self-authenticating?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Dude, I'm recording this. Dude, I want you to repeat that one more time. This is actually laughable. Did you just state a if conditional as if the if conditionals... Do you think if conditionals can be self-authenticating?
You're trying to harp on somebody and you haven't found a justification for your claim. Can you find that justification?
No.
Can you? No. Can you find that justification? Yo, Q-tip, can you find that justification?
Q-top,
He just stated that if conditionals is authenticating. You don't understand anything about propositional logic, bro.
Wait,
You sound
Qtop.
absurd.
Wait, no,
You
I
just
do
said
understand. I have a bad
Do you
memory.
think did I use an if condition? You don't.
Maybe
think
RH wants to.
I misspoke.
That is not necessary.
Hold on,
All
Q-Top.
self-authenticating propositions are necessary.
Q-Top,
This guy's absurd.
Hold on.
Oh my gosh, bro. Okay, bro. I'm gonna be honest, bro. After
He
that
misspoke.
total lacking of
Hey,
intellect,
Q-Top.
You sound like a flippant, bro.
All right, bro.
Hey,
You
Q-Top.
need to go back and do
Q-Top.
research
Hey,
on like
Q-Top.
basic.
Can you hear when
propositional
people are
logic. You're trying
talking
come
to you or
up here and
no?
Act like you're smart, dude.
Can you
You're
hear
not smart
when
at
people are
all.
talking to you or
Dude,
no?
RH, I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like I wipe my ass with your intellect.
Hold on. He wants to restate his premise.
Yeah, so Qtop. Sorry, my memory's bad. What was your premise 1? P1 for tag, go.
Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and state P1 again for you, okay?
Cool.
Do you have a paper and pencil, RH?
Yeah, I
'Cause
do, yeah, I do.
It seems like you have like a lacking of like memory.
I have a
or
lacking
somewhat.
of memory, yeah.
I want you to state. I want you to get a paper and pencil. Okay?
State it. Yeah, I got one.
Alyssa is hilarious.
Okay, here we go. P1. In order to say that God is not a brute fact, you have to have conditionals in which you push the antithesis. P1. It's impossible to have conditions in which you push the antithesis. Therefore, God is a brute fact.
Wait, okay, all that, but whenever you say God, say naturalism. That's my P1. Go. It's self-authenticating. Go.
Oh my god.
Okay. Now I'm
What?
gonna ask you a question.
It's
because
self-authentic. Do you know?
Brother.
Do you know what a
What
zero
in
game
nature-
sum syllogistic
what in
argument is,
nature
Qtop?
What in nature ontologically accounts for unity and diversity?
Nature.
What's your answer? Thank you so much.
Duh.
So now at this point in time,
Duh.
guys, for all my Christians, hear me and hear me good. If I were to
Hear me and
continue
hear
to
me
engage
good.
in this conversation with
I think you
with
mean
this
hear me
fool,
well.
I would be
'Cause
disobeying
well
my
there is
God.
gonna be-
The Bible says if you speak
The Bible
to a fool,
says
you
if you
yourself
speak
are a
to
fool,
me.
right?
Yeah, the Bible says if you do meta. Are you preaching right now? What's going on? Do you think that I'm gonna stop? Right?
Self-authenticated proposition.
Yeah.
I didn't come in this fucking chat.
Everybody who's listening to this is losing brain cells, right? Look, so yeah, it's just gonna be taking the subject of your premises, right, and inserting naturalism where you insert God.
So now at this time, RHRN, I am done speaking to you, brother. It's as if you don't exist to me. I'm done speaking to you. All right, does anybody else have any objections?
Wait, Qtop, was that at me? Was that at me?
Does anybody else have any objections to the self-authentication of P1?
Yeah, of course.
I know Alyssa doesn't.
I don't know about P1.
I know Alyssa just came up here literally just to like waffle. Alyssa, you know Donald Trump is the best president that we've ever had, right?
Are we talking about Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Are we talking about
want to.
Donald
That's
Trump
all you
right
can
now?
talk about, Alyssa, because you.
Are we talking about Donald? Where do you see Donald Trump on this background?
Okay, so Qtop, what method do you utilize to verify a proposition to be self-authenticating?
That the antithesis of the proposition leads to a logical contradiction. Which means in order to deny the proposition itself, you're going to be logically contradicting yourself.
So what's the argument that all other worldviews are logically contradicting?
Okay. In order to deny the proposition, yeah, it would be a contradiction.
Yeah,
wait, is you're saying the rejection? Okay, hold on. So the only way you can support the first premise is if somebody rejects it?
No, it's not if somebody rejects it. It's that all antithesis, right? Okay, let me explain to you. And again, Kylo, you're really smart, and I know that you're genuinely like here to learn. So, look, when we say that A is A, what we're saying is that the antithesis of A, right, is not identical to A. So that not A is not identical to A, right? So for every proposition A has to necessarily correspond to A. So to say that A is not true, you have to support why not A is true, right? And what I'm saying is, in this type of argument, in order to say that A is not true, right, the conditions it takes to say that A is not true affirms A, right? So that's like saying that if I say certainty exists, right? This is an example, and you say, well, I don't think certainty exists, and I say, well, are you certain that you don't think that certainty exists, right?
Yeah, that's talking about credence. That's talking about credence, not knowledge.
Of a self-authenticating proposition. So in P1, what I'm simply saying is that God is essentially the unifying principle. He dictates what is and what cannot be. So let's just say
That's talking about credence, Qtop.
Let's just say I'm looking at the world. Let's just say I'm looking at the world, and let's just say I'm looking at the world. I'm just gonna speak as if he's not talking. Let's just say I'm looking at the world, and I have this hypothesis that there's this thing that exists, right? That's a unifying principle that dictates what is and what cannot be. What I'm simply saying is, in order to have any hypothesis at all, the thing must exist. What I'm saying is, for you to reject P1, right? It would mean that you have an identity state you're operating from to reject the identity state of P1. What you don't understand is that you cannot have any identity state if there is not this ultimate identity state that dictates what is, what cannot be. So in order to literally say I have an identity state to reject the ultimate identity state, that means you have to affirm the ultimate identity state to reject the ultimate identity state. That's why P1 is self-authenticating, because you cannot rationally deny the existence of God without first having an identity state. And the only way you can have an identity state is if there is a necessary and ultimate identity state, by which all contingent or propositional identity states are derived from. This is the problem.
A lot of claims.
P1 and tag self-authenticated, and no one understands this. No one understands tag. No one understands P1. No one understands how propositions are self-authenticating. No one understands a zero premise argument.
Just be existence.
It's a zero premise based argument.
Hold on. Explain this more.
I'm just saying existence could be that thing, right? Like you're applying some external thing has to be this like this piece. So you could just say existence is that. That's the unifying truth.
Yeah, so it can't
Facts.
be
Qtop
existence.
just got
It can't be
cooked.
existence because existence is an identity state.
Yeah, hold on. You just
Existence
said
has an
there has to
identity.
be an identity state that
So
everything
it
is based off of, and you're giving it to God. I'm just saying it could just be existence.
I'm not giving it to. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're saying
sir,
I'm giving it
sir,
to
is
God.
Existence. Okay, sir. Can I ask you a question?
No, to be honest, I'm not really interested in. I just gave you the refutation. Existence.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you're not
It's
interested,
okay.
if you're not
I'm not
interested,
interested.
if
Don't
you're not
worry. You don't
interested
have
in
to cry
seeing your
about it. You don't have to
refutation,
cry
you
'cause
totally
I'm
annihilated.
Yeah,
Then I
Qtop,
just
you
won't
don't have
talk
to
you.
cry about it.
Existence cannot be. Existence cannot be the necessary identity state because existence is not necessary, right?
It
What
literally
only thing that
is.
is necessary?
exist.
The only thing that is
exist.
necessary is
Are
an
you dumb?
identity state.
To
The
exist,
identity
you have
state
to
is
exist.
necessary.
It is literally
Now the identity state.
It's the only identity state.
Wait. Qtop, remember earlier we were discussing, you said there was a position where if you take something to be true, then it's necessary, right?
Yeah, that's under my paradigm.
Wait,
Truth and no, you can't.
An atheist
Okay, do we exist?
can hold to
Does
that
something
position
exist?
that if existence is true, then it necessarily exists, or the universe is true, then it necessarily exists.
Yep.
And then
Yeah. So what I'm simply saying.
Wait,
OG
engage
Kylo,
with that,
when you say
Qtop.
that something exists,
Engage with that.
look, he's using existence, and it's like colloquial, like he's using like the colloquial understanding of existence.
How do you know that?
When
You
I
didn't
say-
ask him.
If I say
How do you know that?
from a
ask him.
theological and Christian paradigm, when I say existence is necessary, I'm saying real existence is necessary. There's a distinction between real existence and existence.
Oh.
God really exists, right? We are just subsistences of his existence. So we don't actually have a real ontological existence. Our ontological existence is ultimately derived from the ultimate unifying principle. We exist continually.
How do I know the
we
difference
exist?
between real and
We
not real
exist
existence?
because he exists,
LOL.
right? So
See
God
how
is
stupid this
ultimately
is?
exists.
He doesn't want to say not real
Existence
existence. Because that's the contradiction. Oopsies.
Existence does not ontologically dictate what is what.
He literally he
Existence
agrees.
cannot-
came in here for like
Existence-
He literally agrees it's
Existence is dependent upon truth, right?
Yeah, it's
God,
self-authenticating.
what I'm saying
Just
is
like
there
you've been
has
saying
to
God
be
is.
something.
Wait,
there
he just
has to be
conceded. You said
something
existence is
there has to be
reliant upon
something
truth, but you didn't
that
say
is the
real
Now
existence
there's two
is.
types of existence. Real
which
existence
allows for anything
and
that exists to
existence.
actually be true. So
Right,
you
and
don't understand the
existence
difference
exists. That
between
means-
ontology and epistemology. You keep talking about existence. This conversation has nothing to do with existence.
Let me ask you
I'm
a
saying there
question.
has to be something that makes
Yeah, I'm saying
existence
existence is that
correspond
thing,
to
bro.
reality.
I don't wanna
We're not
judge
talking
anybody,
about just
bro.
something existing.
Wait.
We're talking about this thing corresponding to what
He's the only one
exists.
talking. He's the
Bro,
only one
Qtop,
ranting.
what's the distinction from real existence and regular existence?
Yes, real existence is the identity state that is necessary that allows for everything that exists to correspond to this thing that really exists. Existence is just a subsistence. Existence is just a subsistence of what really exists. See, this is what you understand. This is good, right?
Yeah, so
This is
real
what you
existence is
understand,
what I'm
right?
referencing.
Wait, Qtop, please keep your responses to under 10 minutes. Can you do that?
It's okay.
Qtop, can you keep your responses to under 10 minutes, please?
Wait,
Kylo, you keep over talking me.
Qtop, let me, because I want to understand this. So what, in reference to what Ismar said, if he's saying that is real existence, you're saying that's not applicable?
Existence has to be distinct from real existence. Because
Whatever you mean by
existence,
I'm not talking about
when I say
existence,
something,
I'm talking about
when I
real
say,
existence.
oh my gosh.
I'm talking about real existence is the identity. You're saying there has to be something that created this real existence or something like that.
What are you-
I'm saying the real existence is just the identity.
What are you, bro? I'm not.
Engage.
See, I'm not
Engage in
understanding
it.
my argument.
Engage with
Wait,
it.
Ismar, you're this. You're like straight up not
Engage
understanding
with
my
it.
argument. My art, bro. You're
Yeah,
not
okay,
under
okay, bro.
Ismar. Okay,
It's okay.
Kylo, can you
No
mute
need,
him? Because
no
he's
need.
like he did it. I just from what he said, he doesn't
Bro,
understand my
you
argument.
start
I'm
doing
not saying something
dissertations.
must have created real existence. What I'm saying is real existence is the necessary identity state which ontologically
so that's God.
dictates what is and what cannot be. Okay? You're saying that existence is identical to real existence. What I'm saying is that is impossible because existence has to correspond to what is real. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying there's a
by
distinction between
existence, I
real
just mean
existence
what
and
is
existence.
real.
Real existence
That's what I
doesn't
mean by
correspond to what is real.
existence. What is
real
real?
existence is what is real. That's why you can't deny God, because when you deny God, you
Bro,
deny
this is
what
so
is
dumb.
real.
This is so
When
dumb.
you deny God, you deny what is real. That's why I'm saying
That's
P1
what
is
it is.
self-authenticating, because you cannot deny God, because when you deny God, you deny real existence, and that means that everything that
I'm
you
saying when
say
you
deny
doesn't
real
really
existence,
exist, because
you
it
deny
would not be
real
a subsistence of real existence.
Shut
because
up,
there's no
Qtop.
existence
Qtop,
which cannot be.
Qtop, shut up.
They don't understand.
Wait. We gotta be able to have actually. You say something, we listen, we respond, versus you just talking.
Bro, Ismar keeps interrupting me. He doesn't understand
Wow,
my
more
argument.
meta.
Wait, hold on.
He
chill,
doesn't
chill.
understand my argument, Kylo.
Wow, more
He
meta.
doesn't understand my argument.
That's total. I'm listening. So listen. In reference to what.
Okay, I'm gonna engage with you, Kylo. Kylo. From
Wow,
this
more
point on,
meta.
I'm not engaging with
Wow,
anybody
more
on the
meta.
panel. I'm engaging with you.
Okay, listen. In reference to
I'm
what
engaging with Kylo.
said, when he said, existence, he takes that existence to be what is real. Are you saying that's problematic for an atheist?
Yes, because
Okay,
you
why?
cannot say what is real unless this thing that exists corresponds to what is real. You can't just affirm that something is real.
course
You
it
can't
would.
just affirm that something really. You can't just affirm that existence
course
is
it
identical
will.
to real existence unless you can show how existence necessarily corresponds to itself. See, look, he's just talking.
Wait, no more meta. No more meta. No meta. No meta.
Kylo, okay, Kylie, I'm talking to you. I'm just gonna see my
so
next
dumb.
More
I guess
meta.
you are talking, right? He's saying,
More meta.
right? He's saying that existence automatically corresponds to itself. What I'm saying is you cannot affirm that unless you can show the contradiction of, or unless you can show what is making it so that proposition P necessarily corresponds to proposition P. That's why I'm saying there has to be
real
divine
existence
principle.
equals
That's
real
why I'm saying there has to be something that really exists.
What the
because,
fuck is
because
this? This is
existence
so
cannot
dumb,
just
bro.
correspond to itself. There has to be something that
what he's
allows
saying?
for existence to correspond to what really
Qtop,
exists.
shut up.
Wait, is what Ismar is saying? Is there some derivative contradiction?
Yes. Because
Derive
things
it.
Things
What's the P and not P?
Yes, the P and not P is that existence. There is nothing. Okay, the P is this: existence does not have the property to correspond to itself. The not P is Ismar is saying existence does have the property to correspond to itself. What is making it so
Wait,
that
do you
what
deny the
exists-
law of identity?
What is making it so
Do
that
you
what
deny the
exists
law of
actually
identity?
is? What is
Do you deny the law of identity?
What is
All I'm
making-
saying
what
is
is
real
making-
existence
Guys,
is real
hold on,
existence.
We're getting somewhere.
That's it.
Just like,
Okay, let me make my point. Real existence is real existence. To refute that real existence is not existence, then you'd have to not exist, and that, like, you can't not exist. Bro, this is the exact same fucking self-authenticating argument you just fucking gave. You just applied God. You fucking idiot.
wait, so Qtop, you're saying him invoking the law of identity? How is that problematic?
Yeah, you cannot invoke the law of identity without the ultimate identity state. What you don't understand is that everything in reality, right, has an identity state.
I'm
And
saying
this
that
thing that
is
has
the
an
ultimate identity state.
you
What are you not
cannot
tracking?
see. Kylo, this is but
Well, yeah, 'cause he's not referencing what I'm
this is
saying.
why.
I'm
Kylo,
saying
this is why
that
I
is
can't
the
have a
identity
con-
state.
Kylo, this
He's
is why I
applying
can't have
an
a
additional
conversation.
identity
I
state
think-
on
This
top
is it.
of
This
it.
is Kylo. This
I'm
is
saying, no,
generally why I
that's
can't.
it. That's
This guy has no impulse control. So Kylo, what I'm gonna do is
I
I'm
know
gonna
you
mute my
ain't
mic,
talking.
and I want him to steal in my position. He's not even. I'm gonna be honest, Kylo. You're like at least somewhat trying to grasp. Ismar doesn't even understand the argument I've been making. He's saying that real existence he can just say that real existence is real existence. You
Just
understand?
exists. The
In
same way
order
you
for
say
something
God
to
just
really
exists, you
it has to
fucking dodo.
be the necessary identity
Dodo,
state
it's okay.
because it has to be something that does not correspond. Its existence corresponds to itself, and in order for something's existence to correspond to itself,
Yeah,
that
just like
means
God's
it has to be
existence
the necessary
corresponds to
identity state,
itself.
which dictates
Fucking
to see
idiot.
what is or cannot be. Because the only way that something can correspond to itself is if it
you call it
is
God.
dictated, is if there's something that dictates that it can
Wait,
correspond.
Qtop, you
to
said you were
itself.
gonna mute.
Things just don't correspond to.
Okay,
things.
so what dictates
You have
that God's
to
identity?
You said you were gonna
something
mute,
that
Qtop.
logically dictates
Ismar.
what is what cannot.
Okay. Ismar asked a good question. So, if you're saying that's problematic, that something dictates itself or it exists with itself, is that not applicable to God?
No, it is not applicable to God because God is ultimately intentional, and God is God is outside of the parameters of all metaphysical properties in reality in such a way that unless this necessary identity
Yeah, I
state
could just say
exists,
that existence is intentional too. I could just say existence is
have a conversation. I can have a conversation.
May-
I'm done.
Maybe it would be good if we kept our responses
I'll just
to
say,
under
Kylo,
5
Can you
minutes.
mute his mic? Kylo, can you please mute his mic, bro? Like Kylo, you have to.
I'm trying to hear the ins and outs with this tag.
Kylo, you have to get some
That's why I
control.
started
Kylo,
talking
you're
again.
asking me a question. I begin
got
to
you.
answer the question that you ask, and then he interrupts me. So
Yeah.
Kylo, you have to get some control.
Guys, no
in your
more
room.
interrupting. I'm gonna start dropping people.
Kylo, you have to get
I
some
only started
control in your
speaking
room,
because
bro.
he said he was done, so I started speaking.
Okay.
If you tell me to stop, I
getting
promise
back
I'll
to
stop.
why it's
If
not
you tell me to
applicable
stop,
to
I'll
God.
stop. I promise.
Alyssa, what do you have your
Gosh.
hand up for?
Oh, you said what? I wanted to say something before I left, but I didn't want to interrupt what was going on up here.
You have like a buy speech?
It's not a speech. No, it was really for Q because again, this man has me blocked on all of my accounts. You owe me a debate and you owe me $1,000 because you got folded.
Damn. Anyways, bro, this is not applicable to God because he's not in reference to what? Or he's not in the realm of.
Okay, let me give a summation.
Yeah, but Qtop, a good idea would be to keep this less than 5 minutes long.
Let me give
Okay.
a summation, Kylo.
That would be a good idea, right?
About what's happening.
That would be a good idea to keep your response less than 5 minutes long.
Ismar is saying that existence and real existence are identical. Why this is a problem?
He didn't say that.
There has to.
He said real existence and real existence are equal. Yeah, probably a good idea, Qtop, is to keep your responses less than 5 minutes long, but you did strawman his view. He said that real existence equals real existence, not real existence equals existence. Right. So go ahead, try again. Or run away.
Kylo, the next time I speak, if someone interrupts me, can you kick them? Yes or no?
Bro, don't even fucking answer, Kylo. He can bounce. Like,
wait, we're not. Wait. Qtop, don't interrupt us. Don't interrupt us. We were talking. You interrupted us.
Cry, Qtop. It's a power move. He's a cry.
Kylo.
Let him
the
cry.
next time I speak, brother, if someone interrupts me,
don't even answer.
Yes.
Kylo, I will keep my responses under 3 minutes. Kylo, the next time, if I speak and someone interrupts me, can you please kick them, brother?
Yes, make it 2 minutes.
Okay, cool. Now that he's not talking, I'm gonna start first, and he can't interrupt me because.
Okay, Kylo, RH already lost. Yeah, Kylo, RH already lost. He just interrupted me.
If you kick him,
I didn't even try. He did. Yeah, RH already interrupted me.
Let's go. I'm listening.
RH already interrupted me.
I'm listening.
Okay, yeah, that's strike one, RH. Okay, this is a question about existence and real existence. You cannot state that real existence is identical to real existence unless real existence necessarily corresponds to real existence. And the only way real existence can necessarily correspond to real existence is if real existence is the necessary identity state by which everything else corresponds to real existence, which means real existence has to dictate what is, what cannot be. That means to reject real existence, you literally reject reality itself, therefore it's self-authenticating. This is the argument I'm making. You cannot state that real existence is not anything other than God because real existence has to ultimately correspond to itself. And the only way that real existence can ontologically correspond to itself is that if real existence is a necessary identity state which dictates what is and what cannot be, meaning it's ultimately intentional. It ultimately intends for its existence to correspond to itself. Its existence cannot just correspond to itself unless its existence is ultimately unified, by which all other subsistences of real existence can correspond to the unification of real existence. So what I'm saying, is for you to assert that real existence is anything other than God, okay? You would have to affirm, or you'd have to assert that real existence can be unified ontologically and dictate what is, what cannot be. That's why you cannot deny real existence as being God. Yes, because real existence, Kylo, he's done. Kylo, whoa, Kylo, you have to be. I did not take more than 2 minutes. I was about to land my plane, and he just. Bro, Kylo, nah.
Yeah, because you asked for 2 minutes and you missed
it. All right, just land because I know.
Kylo, bro, are you a man of your word or not?
Objection.
Kylo, are you a man of your word or not?
We gave you 2 minutes. That was over 2, bro. Just land. Because I liked what you're saying, bro. So come on.
Okay, yeah, this is fake. This is fake, but I'll just continue. Kylo, that's mad fake, bro. You told me that you would kick them, bro.
And you said you were gonna take 2 minutes.
I actually said 3, but okay.
Yeah, he said under 3.
Okay, so okay.
Why is like the smallest nigga on? I want to actually respond to what you said.
They just have no impulse control. It's fine though.
Hey, Qtop, you're one to speak. You're the worst.
Pen. Wait, but
like the lack of self-awareness is hilarious, bro.
Wait, can you?
At least I know I lack it.
Qtop, can you please land?
You can't reject P1. God is a necessary identity state. God has to be unified.
Yeah,
Nothing
real existence is the
nothing
necessary
is reality. Nothing.
He's not adding anything, bro.
Nothing is. There is no unification principle besides God. When you say anything else is unification principle, you're gonna have to prove how it's unified, and God is the only thing that's unified. That's He gives reality ultimate context. That's
and when you say this,
you can't affirm real existence as an atheist. That doesn't make any sense. No atheist would affirm real existence.
Hold on. Okay. Look, when you say this real existence must, and then you say it must, because obviously the atheists say they believe in the real existence, but I think the distinction here is that there's going to be some attributes like the real existence is self-aware and it has intentional states. How do we justify that?
The real existence is transcendental, okay, and it is the unifying. That means that means it exists outside of any sort of physical properties or parameters and exists in all places at one time. It is the very fabric of reality. So essentially, right, for an atheist to say they affirm real existence, what they're essentially saying is there is this thing that exists that is not bound by time, space, or matter, by which everything ultimately corresponds to, which makes reality unified, and which dictates identity state. Because this thing cannot be real existence unless it does those things. Because for something to be real existence, again, that means to deny this thing as being real existence, you can't deny anything at all.
Why must it not be bound by time and space? Or like,
yeah, because because time, space, and matter must correspond to this thing. Essentially, this thing is reality. When we say something really exists, it is reality itself.
Right.
That's how God's mind is reality. God's mind. So when you reject P1, you're rejecting reality. What we're saying is this thing makes reality unified in such a way that everything has to correspond to this thing. So this thing has to ontologically dictate what is or cannot be. That's why I'm saying an atheist
why must it be self-aware?
What?
Why must it have these intentional states?
Are you an idealist?
Because yes, this thing has to have intentional states because it has to dictate what is, what cannot be. It has to dictate that Proposition P will necessarily correspond to Proposition P. Proposition P cannot just necessarily correspond to Proposition P, right? Like, because again, in order for Proposition P to necessarily correspond to Proposition P, that means the antithesis of Proposition P, which is not P, you have to show how the antithesis is even possible from Proposition P, right? So again, when we're talking about the law of identity, okay, Kylo, please mute, please mute this guy, Jaden. Kylo, I don't even know who this guy is.
Jaden, stop interrupting Qtop.
Kylo. Yeah. Okay. So again, for you to reject God's existence, right? What really exists, you're going to have to propose the antithesis of the proposition, right?
What is antithesis? What is a antithesis?
The antithesis is the contrary to a proposition. So if I say the proposition P, the antithesis will be proposition not P.
And can another possible role, would that be an antithesis?
No, a proposition. No,
So you're saying unless we show what you're proposing is contradictory.
Exactly. Yes. What I'm saying is.
Why is that the case? Even when Ismar deployed this,
it works better with real existence.
This real existence. When he deployed that, he's not saying what you're saying is contradictory. He's just giving another possible situation.
Okay, so he's saying essentially this is what the argument. So essentially what we've done is we've recategorized P1. So because you guys I think understand now that you can't deny P1. Now you're trying to say, well, the conditions in which you assert P1, I can assert other conditions which are not the God conditions, and we can still affirm P1. Here's the problem.
Right, so it's not necessary.
Okay? Because the conditions of real existence, God is the only thing that meets those conditions.
Why?
When we say the conditions, when we say again real existence, the real existence has to be intentional and it has to be unified. It has to be unified. It has to. I already explained why.
I didn't catch that.
It has to intend for Proposition P to necessarily correspond to Proposition P.
No, you don't. Prove that. No, you don't.
What do you mean? No, okay, so perfect. So what is your ontological grounding for the law of identity?
Sorry?
What is your ontological grounding for the law of identity?
What does it mean for something to be ontologically grounded?
Oh my. Yeah, I'm not talking to you. Ismar,
yeah, run away, Qtop, run away.
Yeah, Ismar, what is your ontological grounding for the law of identity?
Okay, can somebody else talk? Cause like I have.
Yeah, so it's my.
Yeah, Alan, what's your question?
I've been waiting for 20 minutes to talk, and this guy's been like talking about the same
necessary
thing
identity state.
nonstop.
And that necessary identity state has to be in such a way that it allows for its own existence to correspond to itself. Everything that in reality does not correspond to its own existence.
Yeah, real existence.
You understand? Everything corresponds to reality. You understand? When we say something is true, let me
Wait,
help
no,
you.
that's
Let
just
me help
one
you. Let me
theory
help
of
you. Let me
truth.
help you.
That's just
Kylo,
one
I'm gonna
theory
talk
of
to you now.
truth. That's just one theory of truth. There's
Kylo,
correspondence
I'm gonna
theory,
talk to you now.
coherence
Kylo,
theory,
I'm gonna talk to you now,
pragmatic theory of truth. There's
Kylo, I'm gonna
justified
talk to
true
you now.
belief theory of
I'm
truth.
talking to Kylo. Kylo, listen. Everything in reality,
So
right? There's
meta.
this thing called reality, right?
Bro, you've
And
been
we are
going for
all
more
in
than 3
reality,
minutes, right?
And we exist. Our
Oh
existence
my
is
God.
true because our existence corresponds to this thing called reality, right? Our existence corresponds to reality. Our existence corresponds to what is real.
That's the correspondence
There has
theory
to
of
be
truth. That's not the
something-
only theory of truth there is, right?
There has to be something,
Qtop,
Kylo,
can you hear me?
that is unified in such a way that its existence corresponds to itself, and that thing has to be the necessary identity state, which dictates what is and what cannot be, which is God. That's why you cannot reject P1 without affirming P1.
I have a question. So when you say it needs to dictate, why are you saying that dictation must be some intentional or something intentional?
Something cannot correspond to itself unless it is intentional. That
Okay,
like what
so
is
what
it?
intended
What
for
does it
God
mean
to
for
exist?
something? What is it? What does it mean?
What intended for God to
like
exist?
for instance, like let's say you posit well, it's just like abstract object.
Except
right?
for God.
Let's say you posit this is abstract object. Well, the first problem that you're gonna have again is that this thing has to be in material, right? It can't be material because the necessary identity state has to be independent.
So something
Everything has
that
to
is
be
the necessary identity state must
So
have
now
an
you're
intent
already
that caused
conceding,
it.
even from the basics of the argument, you're already conceding that there's this like immaterial spiritual thing that exists. Okay, let's say that. But let's say you say, well, it's this immaterial thing.
Qtop,
and
you're
by
breaking
way-
the rules. You've been talking for more than 3 minutes, Qtop.
No, because I don't think no atheist saying it's like some immaterial spiritual thing. What he's saying is, wait, the same way that
Look, he's saying everything that he's saying it has. There's a necessary intentional state for something to be like the basis of identity, right? Okay, he's saying except God, and he's just applying that. I'm saying just apply that to existence itself, and you have the same thing. He's saying no, you can't do that. You can't do that for that one. Only mine.
It's
Only
not
mine.
special pleading. You just don't understand. It cannot be material. I'm about to tell you right.
Wait, Hero,
Kylo, stop talking, bro.
Hero, one
stop talking.
second.
You know what you're talking about. So, Kylo, you remember when I was talking to your friend Jemite, right? And he concluded that like existence is not gonna be ontological, and that's why Top is right. You can't believe as an atheist there's something called real existence. I'm about to tell you why. If you believe there's something that's called real existence, does it subsist in itself? According to what you're saying, yes, right? It subsists in itself. If something subsists in itself, okay, it cannot be divided. It is undividable. But matter itself is dividable.
Wait, can we not entertain this? This is a waste of time.
Hero saying that was brilliant. That was brilliant. That was what I was saying, right?
Slow.
This necessary identity has to be the unifying principle.
Wait,
They're saying the unifying principle is not God.
Wait,
What I'm
Qtop.
saying
isn't the building
you're
blocks
just
of
simply
reality,
defining. When we
though.
say unifying principle, we are saying God, and then you're saying, well, how can the unifying principle be something other than God? What I'm saying is, in order for the unifying
Look, the Christian God is divided into 3 persons.
Hero's not.
This guy is slow. This guy is dumb, bro.
Yeah, he's not even like that. Hero said, don't even respond to him when he talks.
Look,
it's just
if
as
something is
disgusting
not
as-
made of material,
Yeah.
if something is immaterial,
it's not even
sorry,
worth
if
it.
something, sorry, don't talk over me, Qtop. Don't talk over me.
So, Kylo,
Don't talk
understand
over me,
how
Qtop.
existence
Don't talk over me. I
can
was
only be
speaking.
God?
I was speaking, Qtop.
Wait, give me a second. Let me get this guy up here. Wait. You guys are throwing me off. Why are we got like 50 different people talking? That
Because
this. Go RH, please.
yeah, so you're saying that physical reality, like matter, can be divided, but so can immaterial things, right? Like concepts are immaterial. We can divide those, right? Like if God is immaterial, you're not saying that God is subject to the law, the nomological laws, such that he couldn't be in like different places or something. Like, what do you mean?
But hold on, before you go.
Can I like be charitable?
Philosophy.
Look, I'm going to be charitable to Qtop because I think what he's saying is something like what's rational is what's real.
No, it's not what
Okay, well, when you say unifying principle, I take logic and reason to be the unifying principle which governs all concepts. in this world.
So what ontologically imposes states of unity and diversity? You can't just the laws of logic.
I don't believe in a distinction. I'm an
Okay, I don't care what you believe in. I'm asking you. So look, here's the problem. So Ilias philosophy. I think I've had a conversation with you in the past, and you're kind of doing the same tactic. So the whole notion is the laws of logic are just correct way of thinking about the world. That's all the laws of logic are. They give us the correct way of thinking about the world. But the question that the atheist can never answer, right? The philosophical dilemma that every atheist has is this: the laws of logic are correct thing about the world. What makes the world in such a way that there can be correct thinking about the world?
I agree with you.
That's the problem. You're not answering. All you're saying is the laws of logic give us correct thinking about the world. You're not showing what makes the world in such a way that there can be correct thinking about the world. That's the problem that you have. And there has to be a unifying principle that dictates what is and what cannot be, the necessary identity state that grounds the fabric of.
We gotta have a conversation, boss.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Okay, calm down. I'm not trying to debate or prove you wrong. What I'm saying is I see where your reasoning is coming from, and I'm telling you there's another way to get there. All right? Because what you're talking about is how every aspect of reality is logical. I don't know what it means for reality to be logical, to be illogical. Conversely, every concept that lies in my mind has to be logical. It has to make some sort of sense. It's necessarily true. And I can prove that by simply asking, can anyone conceive of a square circle? Right? And so when you understand, what you're saying is that there is existence. What is existence? Existence in its immediacy is indeterminate being. It is only understood as a process that is. And in its infinite indeterminatedness, it collapses into nothing because vacuity, or like a set of vacuity is a set of nothing. But because it is defined as a set of vacuity, you can understand there to be a fundamental instability in the law, in like what you could say is a contradiction, which is why Hegel rejects the principle of explosion and views contradictions as guardrails that allows reality to be a process of becoming. All right? So if you follow this motion in logic, independent of nomological laws, and then you look at our reason, what are we doing? We're making sense of contradictions. We are synthesizing contradictions. We are developing theses which are negated into antitheses. Through a process of self-negation, we sublate and transcend a higher truth. That is the synthesis. And it starts over and over again ad nauseum. All right? So if you follow the telos of reason, that takes you to a trajectory of God. If you follow a telos of history, that takes you to an eschatological understanding of history. All right? And if anyone is here is going to laugh at that, do you think that the Matrix, or the fact that we live in a simulation, is something that's not possible? Because that is a system that is necessarily governed by laws of logic. And I could just say, instead of God, it's a computer. What Qtop is saying is that there is reason for believing what's reasonable is real, and it comes from somewhere. It is due to the fundamental instability in the law of non-contradiction.
I'm gonna be honest, that was very articulate. You're like 70% there, but you're 30% off. I'm not just arguing so you're right in the sense that I'm simply saying like in order for you to have reason to reason, right, there has to be like this unifying principle. And that's essentially like the summation, because again, if you guys have ever read Greg Bonson's book, Pushing the Antithesis, I would encourage you guys to get that book. In that book, Greg Bonson expounds upon how in order for you to prove anything, right, in order for you to have a system or a framework or justification to be able to prove any proposition to be false, there has to be the antithesis of that proposition, which could necessarily be true. So what I'm essentially saying is that in order for you to negate that there's a unifying principle, the conditions that you are using to state the antithesis of the unifying principle as true, that those conditions affirm the unifying principle as true. You can't push the antithesis without the antithesis. So that's the problem. So what the brother is saying, Ilias philosophy came from, and he's very, very smart, and I think he's actually the most productive person here on the panel that began to at least try to, kind of articulate what I'm saying. Maybe you guys don't understand it, but Ilias philosophy is, he pretty much got it, but it's just essentially saying that the unifying principle has to be a necessary identity state, and that necessary identity state has to be God. It can't be a computer. That's where you. It can't be a computer because a computer.
I'm not saying it's a computer. That's just an analogy. So that it helps understand. Like to use the computer analogy, I would say, how can you have computation without a computer?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. That's the point. But that's not made. Qtop, where I disagree with you.
Okay.
Is that's not because of the unifying principle. That's because there is no object. There is no external world to us. And to make it simple, like in the analogy, we are virtual machines that live in a broader system. Right? And so to me, there is no objectivity in the sense of like things exist independent of anything. Everything is necessarily dependent on some form of conceptual grounding, by virtue of logic itself being comportable to reality.
Okay, well, the problem with that is that you don't have any sort of like epistemic. So see, you're.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. No, so your understanding of the epistemology stuff. Truth to me, I would say if I have the knowledge or the truth of a circle, that's only a small piece of the truth. The truth is not something that I can capture.
Okay, so see, that's
the end of history.
Yeah, that's where we differ. So see, that's what I was saying. That's where like you know.
Well, I would just be a broad coherence theory.
Yeah, well, those different like paradigm approaches that you brought up there. This is where we would definitely differ. So when we talk, I think you're just trying to propose different conditions in your like ontological framework, but then I'm kind of questioning your epistemology.
Well, to be clear,
because I think that your epistemology will kind of
my argument for God is very different than the one I laid out. What I'm giving is the classical sort of Hegelian understanding.
Okay,
I'm trying to explain. Because what happened, what these guys are thinking, they're thinking that logic is a static process, right? And so when you put logic into motion, what happens? Computation. Right, so the issue I would have with, like, let's say the hypothetical hylomorphist is that it's not that it's wrong, it's just it's trivial or it's incomplete in the sense that it doesn't account for this fundamental instability at the base of logic by virtue of trying to categorize anything into the two categories of being and nothing.
Okay.
Right. So like what I'm giving is, I think what happens is we kind of presuppose that the computation is necessary, or the computer is necessary for there to be computation. I think that's the mistake. I think you have to give an inductive or deductive argument from the most skeptical point you can, which is what Hegel tries to do. He takes Descartes to the rational, to its logical conclusion, and he says it's not enough for me to think in propositions. What is just thinking in its purest form? What is existence in its purest form? That's his only. That's his jump off.
I would slightly.
Yeah. And then he makes a deductive argument from that jump off point for God.
Yeah, so I would slightly correct you, brother. I don't think that the computer is necessary for computation.
Again, that's in order.
I think in order for a computer to be a computer, it's a unifying principle is going to be,
Sure. Look.
It's an analogy.
Yeah, it's an analogy. We don't need to yell. Look, what I'm saying is, like, I obviously understand. If I wanted to say that God is a computer, that would be a very, very different conversation and a very different argument.
Brother, I know you're making an analogy, right? I'm saying that you're like 70% there. This is not. I think you're like.
Okay,
do you think I'm making some sort of like
I don't think you're
epistemic argument here? Or like,
I'm just trying to. I thought you were saying something different, and I misinterpreted. I apologize.
Okay, no problem, brother. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm just simply saying. So look, I presented some sort of performative transcendental argument, right? And these people on the panel here, right, were trying to reject P1, and I was saying that P1 is self-authenticating, right? And I know Ilias, you know what is self-authenticating.
Well, I didn't hear P1 though. Can you remind me?
I will repeat P1, right? But before I repeat P1, do you know what a self-authenticating, a zero premise-based argument or a self-authenticating?
I mean, I imagine it would be something that's just necessarily true. Like the truth lies in the like if I say I exist, I mean, to me that's just necessarily true by virtue of me understanding that I'm a thing that exists.
Yeah, you existing, I would push back that that's a necessary. Well, I'm
okay. Fair. Look.
I'm
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like When you say self, like, okay, what do you mean? But like, we got to pick apart these terms.
Yeah. So when I say a self-authenticating proposition, I'm just simply saying that to reject. Okay, look, what I'm saying is
maybe
is
laying out the first premise would be helpful here.
All right, please don't interrupt.
I'm saying maybe laying out the first premise would be helpful.
Somebody on the panel that's actually productive besides OG Kylo, man, and like Hero-san. I just genuinely want to have a conversation real quick. Like,
Maybe.
I actually look, RH. I think we can get somewhere. So let's just
Maybe laying out the first premise would be helpful. Then you could show where all these.
I just want to look.
concepts
I'm not
are.
gonna. I'm just curious. Like, I don't even care what the premise is, word for word. I'm not one of these people. I'm gonna try and look for the intention of what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and look
for the conceptual understanding.
Yeah, so look for the intention of what I'm saying, and when I say that maybe laying out the first premise, maybe laying out the first premise would help move the dialectic along somewhere more relevant.
I'm gonna wind up starting my own live, brother, and everyone who wants to come, like they can hear us talk. Ilias, it's quite literally impossible to have like a productive discourse when we have people like RH and like Ismar in the live. Like I like even OG Kai, like bro, he wants to learn. You know, I want we all want to have like a productive dialectic, and it's people just generally like they just keep on talking.
Wow,
so
meta.
Hold on, Qtop, you blocked me for one, so you're gonna have to unblock me. Two, I think.
Why did I block you?
Yeah, well, I went up and I was trying to run just some Hegelian stuff. I think I just pissed you off a bit. That's all.
Wait, did I block you or did my mods block you? Are you sure that I blocked you?
Guys.
Yeah, dude, I'm not offended. Don't worry. I was kind of trolling a bit. So
okay, if you were trolling.
I don't know if
but Qtop, what I would say is I think you would agree.
Dude, wait. I'm sorry. Just wait. I did want to hear that first premise back to write it down. I didn't mean to mute you, but we're de-escalating very much. So getting back to this first premise, can you were discussing what a self-authenticating the self-authenticating premise is that if you reject the premise, you're committing a contradiction. Is that right?
Yes.
How do you say the word? Antithesis?
It's called pushing the antithesis.
Okay, right. Now, can we get that
Yeah, so Kylo, so you do know what a self-authenticating proposition is, right?
Correct.
Okay, so can you just tell me like what it? Because before again, because this is very important, and I'm not trying to be facetious. I just want to make sure that you understand what it is.
He just said it, and you said he got it right.
Yeah, exactly what you said verbatim. That rejection of the premise leads to a contradiction. I think you would even agree that it's necessarily true.
I mean, I understand a self-authenticating premise to be something that just doesn't require additional proof.
Yeah, so this is some sort of like semantical dispute. The way that I understand a self-authenticating proposition to be, Ilias, is a proposition that it authenticates itself in such a way that the negation of the proposition cannot necessarily be true. The negation of the proposition is not even logically possible.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah, for instance, if I say certainty exists, right? That's self-authenticating.
No.
It's epistemically and ontologically self-authenticating.
You're talking about credence there, not knowledge.
Dude, why is
hold on, stop.
Dude, I cannot have a bro, Kylo, bro. I'm not trying to be like, bro, I can't have a conversation, bro. I literally cannot have a conversation. It's not even me, bro. I cannot have a conversation.
So what does this objection of credence mean?
I want to say at face value, what Qtop said about certainty exists does meet my sort of, because like any sort of justification I would have, like how can I be certain of anything?
Yeah, but that's credence.
Even if what he means semantically is like I am most certain that certainty exists, I would just say that serves the purpose equally as well.
Yeah, but he's talking about like, you know, like, are you certain that certainty exists? And certainty is not required for knowledge under some theories of knowledge.
I understand that.
Okay, that's all. That's the only objection I'm raising.
Okay, but if I say it is certainly the case that a circle is a set of infinite points equidistant from the center, is that not true?
Yeah, but that's going to be a more concrete example where. Wait. Actually, let me finish. Yeah, you look for the substance of what people are saying. So let me finish. Yeah, so that's going to be a more concrete example of something that we can demonstrate to a high degree of certainty, where it might be like, you know, analytically true that if we're defining a circle or a triangle as 3 vertices, 3 angles, 180 degrees summation, right? Those things are, but when it comes to more gray areas of where we have lower certainty, but we would still say we have knowledge, that's going to be when this certainty thing comes under objection.
Oh, Qtop, don't.
Ilias, what you doesn't understand, Ilias, let me.
Please, listen. What I'm not saying is that it's not. I'm not interested in analyzing whether a circle is true. What I'm saying is you are certain of analytic truths, correct?
I wouldn't say 100. Like by the definitions of the words.
Well, then how can you identify them as truths?
But no.
Yeah,
All right,
usually
no,
like true response to like it depends on what theory of truth you're using. You could use correspondence theory, coherence theory, pragmatic theory.
The question is he certain that he's not 100% certain? This is the problem, right? I'm not even talking about. Look, there's many different theories of knowledge. I'm not even talking about. I don't know why he.
You're talking about credence. That's my objection.
I don't know why he's bringing in knowledge right now.
My objection is that you aren't talking about knowledge when you talk about certainty.
I believe that certainty is necessary for knowledge, but this claim has nothing to do with your theory of knowledge. All I'm simply saying is that in order for you to say that certainty doesn't exist, right? You cannot say certainty does not exist for certain.
Who is saying certainty does not exist?
All you can say
who
is
is saying
I
that?
believe that certainty doesn't exist.
You're fighting a straw man. Who is saying certainty does not exist?
You cannot make any epistemic justification claim without certainty existing.
Who is saying certainty doesn't exist? You're fighting a straw man.
He never said certainty doesn't exist.
What I'm saying is that certainty existing is self-authenticating. I never say he said certainty doesn't exist. I'm saying it's self-authenticating. You cannot deny that certainty exists without affirming that certainty exists. Look, you guys asked me for an example of a self-authenticating proposition.
Yeah,
I gave you one.
P1 of tag.
And now we're on this
agree.
epistemic justification.
Let me ask you right now. Okay, watch this. Wait.
Can I give an example?
Hold on.
Can I give an example?
Wait. RH, do you agree that the example Qtop gave of a self-authenticating principle is coherent?
I would say that if you said there are some degrees of certainty exists, right, on a scale, and I would say I agree or disagree, and you would say, do you have to use certainty to some scale to affirm or deny that proposition?
No.
I would say that's true. Yeah,
I'm saying the example.
I say that to say I agree.
Yes.
Yes, but I thought earlier he was talking about credence, and it seemed like he was.
Okay, I think what Qtop is getting at is that I understand a circle to be a set of infinite points equidistant from the center because it is rational and therefore it is so. And that's when I was saying the rational is real part. It being perfectly rational gives certainty as an emerging property because certainty only exists within a mind. It is certainly the case that everything I see in the universe is rational because it exists in a larger rational system. Right? I don't know what it would mean for me to see uncertain things in the universe. Or it would just be like spirits and ghosts and stuff like that. Right? But what I also think is that actually, that's pretty much it. I think that what's rational is real. He's drawing the gap there. Like you can know the content of an analytic truth, but how can you be certain that content matters?
I'm not saying that you have to be certain. I'm saying that you can know it without being certain.
Is it certainly the case that I need a computer? Like, is computer the necessary requirement for computation?
You're missing it, right?
Well, I'm missing what?
You're missing my objection, right?
Well,
which is to say,
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think y'all are agreeing with each other.
Okay, I think that Qtop, I think whatever the questioning is of this is probably not even the controversial part of his argument. And I think that we should probably listen for the rest of it instead of because if I imagine he's stressed out right now, and if you push someone who's stressed, they're gonna obviously kind of react. I'm interested in actually hearing the argument.
Give you P1, and then you can judge.
Yeah,
okay,
we could use P1 of tag.
If he wants to talk about it in his way, that's fine. All right, but I don't think that this is a controversial part of the argument.
Cool, but after we get the concept, you know what you're going to ask for next? P1 of tag, because that's what you asked for to begin with.
Okay, but I have a transcendental argument that's not presuppositionary. That's what I was trying to tell Qtop. Right? The only presupposition I have is that existence exists.
Hey, wait, that's what I tried to give him, and he said that's not good.
Yeah, that's the exact argument he's been rejecting for an hour.
Look. Qtop, listen.
No, he said it's not possible to base it off of that.
Hold on. Stop. It takes years to read Hegel and make sense of it.
Well, you
so
don't have to read to learn.
For you to say that he can even understand. Do you know the argument? Can you repeat it back to me?
I didn't. I'm not saying I gave Hegel's argument. I said I.
But I'm saying I'm trying to explain an argument.
Hold on, Ilias. I said I can base truths based off of existence existing. Right? He gave a self-authenticating premise one. I said I can do the exact same argument and give existence exists as the first premise.
Want an argument for existence?
And he said, no, you're not. You cannot base truth off of that.
Wait, Illis,
do you want an argument for existence?
That's not what Qtop said.
Illis, do you think he's asking you for an argument for existence?
I think Ismar is asking.
No, he's not.
Wait. So can we just get?
I can't even hear what's.
Bro, let's just get the first premise. Fuck, Lord have mercy. Who's playing to the time? Bro, Hero, turn it.
I wasn't asking you for the argument for existence. I was saying I gave the same thing, and you said that this is
bro,
not.
Can I get P1?
Bro, I don't have an argument.
Not his argument.
One. What the
I'm
fuck?
talking to Qtop. Bro, can you unmute your mic?
Yeah, so this is going to be a zero premise-based argument. The argument is this: God exists. To reject that is a performative contradiction. What's your argument?
Yeah, and I said the exact same thing for existence, and you said you can't apply it there.
Oh my!
Your reason why
He doesn't understand, bro.
It's okay. We all heard it. Bro.
Okay. Yeah, OG Kylo. I look. I'll give you.
Bye.
I'm just trying to demonstrate what a proposition is. Okay, P1. In order for truth to exist, God exists. Truth exists. Therefore, God exists. So there you go. If you want more premises.
Apply the same thing.
For
truth to exist, existence must exist. Therefore, existence exists.
That's kind of messy.
Existence is dependent upon truth.
Let me hear philosophy's thoughts on that.
Truth is dependent on existence.
What I'm sympathetic to, in the view is where the argumentation goes after this presupposition, because that's actually quite difficult. But I think that the way I would go about that would obviously not just being like asserting this to be true. I would probably justify that. And I'd have to do that in the way that the rationalist school did, starting with Descartes. He just assumed that all reality is deceiving.
Wait, but philosophy? No, you're moving. Wait, so you're telling? Hold on. So you're saying the premises Qtop? We're just addressing what Qtop gave right now. We're not saying. We're not saying how you would do it. So listen, you're saying the way Qtop is asserting it. You wouldn't accept it to just be self.
I would just ask for additional justification.
Yeah, and Illis, if I were to ask,
wait. So
you asking for justification proves the premise. Like this is again. Maybe you guys aren't familiar. I know. Ilias.
Let me be clear. Look. I'm not saying I would ask for. I'm not saying the view is false. I would ask you how did you come to believe this?
Right.
Okay, so
and
it's not that I'm disagreeing.
Wait, and Illis, if that premise, if somebody asked for a second stage argument for that premise, would that be stupid or irrational for them to do?
No, I think that actually that premise would be justified completely by some sort of sub argument.
Yeah, cool, like a second stage argument.
Authenticating.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Oh damn, Qtop, you heard that? Bye bye.
So, Ilias, you agree it's not self-authenticating because that's what we were discussing, right? He was not willing to give a follow-up.
Okay, but wait, the proposition is self-authenticating if you add enough characters. So it'd still be one premise in an argument.
Wait, so you have to. Sorry, what?
Oh my god!
That would just be the conclusion, and the conclusion with all the premises that are in the antecedent.
Right. So we need
that would be the authenticating part.
Right. Exactly.
And the way that justification would start would be self-authenticating.
Look,
so I would just say to you, is there such thing as being?
No, that's a question.
That's how.
No. So the question is,
right now.
in order for truth to exist, God
this guy
must
doesn't
exist.
Understand the dialectic. I don't know.
No, you're trying to say. I would just ask you if being exists, right? Qtop, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me, Qtop. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Don't
You
interrupt
interrupted me.
No, I didn't. Oh
yes,
yeah, no, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
I just want to get to the.
Let me hear the objection from RH so I can understand what we need an objection from.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did interrupt you, but sorry, it's called passion. Okay, so when you said right that it would be self-authenticating, and you said the reason that it would be is because you would just ask us a question: what is being? Let's pretend. If
you can't tell me that being is existence, then you cannot, that's the justification.
Cool. Yeah, so let's imagine you were in an empty room.
Hold on, you just don't understand how arguments work.
Yeah, let's wait, Illis. Let's imagine you were in an empty room.
Stop fucking interrupting. No, this is getting fucking annoying now. Listen,
yeah, cool.
I'm trying to.
This is where we're getting Ilias. This is where we're getting the
Ilias, this is what they've been doing.
Honestly, this is so disrespectful.
Cool.
Like, you guys don't respect.
It's not going to be progressive.
Cool.
Let me highlight the confusion. What RH is saying is, if you were to be in a room by yourself and you're presenting this argument, right, you're not going to have some other paradigm to investigate. You're not going to be able to ask these questions. How are you going to present this argument in a room by yourself? Oh my gosh,
Kylo. Okay, Ilias, I just want to just say one thing. I
don't even know how.
Wait, Qtop, you weren't being talked to.
I don't know how your question is relevant to what RH was saying.
It is. That's my exact objection.
Okay, what is your objection? Okay, if I'm trying to identify something and I'm skeptical of it, what is the highest form of skepticism I can hold about anything?
Yeah, that's irrelevant. Right? What you just said, and I'll tell you, and you can Ilias, call me dumb after. Call me dumb after, right? But just listen.
It's not that you're dumb.
I don't care about your opinion, right? Listen, okay? I think that you would agree with what I'm about to say, and that is, you said, yeah, the premise would still be self-authenticating, and to prove that, I can just ask you. Sorry, wasn't fucking done, right? It can still be justified, and you said it would be self-authenticating, and to do that, you said, what is being, right?
Yes, because that's how that argument would begin. The justification.
The argument.
That's a question.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's gay. If I had a dialectic with you, if I wanted to start an argument,
do this in a room by yourself. You don't get to ask a question.
Listen, I just want to conclude.
Remember when I brought up Descartes? And you
guys, I didn't even get to substantiate.
How do you justify a premise by asking a question?
I don't fucking think you guys understand how arguments work. Can you tell me the formal structure of a modal argument?
Holy shit! Yeah, let's say that let's say that we fail this little quiz. Let's say that we fail this little quiz. Does that make your argument stronger?
I'm saying I don't expect you to know, but let me fucking explain myself.
If by argument you mean
jump down my throat like wild animals. It's like fucking talking to 5-year-olds.
Ilias.
Literally, bro.
You can run
Ilias, this is what I had to deal with, bro.
You can run a
no, this is aggravating. This is why Qtop was so pissed off.
Ilias is actually wild. And imagine that and imagine Ismar at the same time doing the same thing.
Bro, chill with the meta, bro. Chill with all that, bro.
No, it's fucking annoying. Listen, I can't.
Holy shit. Can we get back to substance? Can we get back to substance? Can we get back to substance?
I get derailed by idiots.
And irrational like dialogue, and you have individuals that just keep like cutting them off. Like this is the real problem. This is not meta.
Deal with their objection.
It's a real problem.
All you have to say.
I'm trying.
You can run a reduction.
Justin, shut your mouth. We're trying to do that.
Wait, the tag team crash out? The tag team crash out?
Hey, Phil, you got the floor. Phil, you got the floor.
Okay, if I need to justify a premise, what you do is you make an argument, a sub-argument for that premise. But the way you would do it in this context would be to the most skepticism possible,
aka
which
radical
is questioning
skepticism.
whether existence exists.
Yeah.
Is there anything more skeptical than that?
Radical skepticism. We agree.
Well, no, it's not radical skepticism. It's the most parsimonious. It is the most rational jump-off point for anything to be true.
Yeah, and to kind of put that on there.
Okay, so yes, it would be self-evident. It would just be a justification in the form. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off that, to reject an argument, that means there's an identity state, right? You can't reject anything without there being an identity state, because when you're rejecting, you're saying this is the antithesis of the propositional identity state. That's the problem. That's why I'm saying in order to reject the unifying principle, the necessary identity state, there has to be an identity state that exists. You can't reject an identity state without there being an identity state that you are rejecting from. That's what I'm trying to explain. So that's it. Going off what Ilias is saying, that's the most skepticism. When you say that existence doesn't exist, you're literally saying that identity states do not exist. He just put it to you in a different way that maybe you guys can understand it. Maybe I'm saying identity states, maybe you guys don't understand it. When he says the skeptic, when they say existence does not exist, that is the biggest form of skepticism, because they're literally saying that that proposition P does not necessarily even correspond to proposition P. That existence does not correspond to itself. That's what I'm saying.
I gave this exact same thing.
Ilias, why do they all start talking?
I don't know, bro.
You disagree.
Wait, obviously you were done.
Bro.
I gave the exact same argument.
Go ahead, bro. Ilias, go ahead, bro. I can't.
disagreed with me, and then Ilias said it, and he agreed. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Kylo, didn't we just do this a long time ago with the real existence thing?
No,
Now he says it can be the basis. Before he said it could not be the basis for identity.
No, that's not what he's saying. Bro.
Okay, hero. Okay, hero.
Wait, let me hear. I want to hear what Justin.
Wait, Ilias, I literally said this. I said this an hour ago.
No, you did not.
He disagreed.
Yes, he did, Ilias. Yes, he did.
No, because if you understood what I was saying, you would understand.
Wait, Ilias, were you here? What? Okay, Ilias, what did I say? What did I say, Ilias?
Wait, hold on. Can I
just say? Can I make my point? Am I allowed to speak?
I'm not agreeing with you. Ismar, I'm not agreeing with you, bro. If you understood my argument, you would know I'm not agreeing with you. I don't know why he keeps saying I'm agreeing with him. Ismar, I'm not agreeing with you. You're very confused. Your confusion is leading you to believe that I agree with you. You don't even know.
Okay, Qtop. Wait, Justin.
Kylo, tell Ismar to still man my argument.
Justin W.
Please tell him to still man my argument. I promise you he won't be able to.
This is crazy.
Justin. So what? I don't think I disagree with Qtop that you have to have an identity state to refute it. I think that what we're saying is that what is self-authenticating is that each individual exists, and that's the axiom and the identity state that they're using with their intuition to reject P1, which is the identity state. The requirement is the requirement you made is that what identity state do you have to reject P1, and they can just use their own identity as the identity state and their own intuition to reject it. And
this was literally said an hour ago. He's been rejecting
your burden. It meets your burden that you put forward. So what's your argument to that?
Bro, Justin, in all respect and humility, you're very confused, okay? Brother, my argument deals with the impossibility of the contrary, leading to a performative contradiction. Someone can assume that they don't exist. That doesn't lead to a performative contradiction, okay? When you assume that reality doesn't exist, that leads to a performative contradiction. And what I'm saying is reality has to be grounded in a necessary identity state, which is God. And when you reject that claim, you do not have an identity state by which to even reject that claim. The atheist cannot put themselves in the same position as God necessary identity state. Because when you say your necessary identity state, what you're saying is you ontologically impose states of unity and diversity. Nobody in reality ontologically imposes states of unity and diversity because we are all within what ontologically imposes dictates, what ontologically imposes states of unity and diversity. Our existence corresponds to something, which is reality. Our existence is not the ultimate thing that corresponds to itself. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. You cannot affirm. What Ismar doesn't understand is that what I'm saying is that existence has to correspond to itself. And the only way it can correspond to itself is if it corresponds to what really exists, which is real existence. And real existence is a necessary identity state, which ontologically dictates what cannot be the unifying principle, which is God. And to reject that, you do not have an identity state by which you can even reject the ultimate identity state, because the ultimate identity state imposes and dictates identity states. That's why it's self-authenticating. No one gets my argument besides Ilias, who literally tried to give it to you guys a different way through ultimate skepticism, and you guys still don't understand it.
Okay, let me respond. So,
before you respond, still man what I just said back to you. Before you respond, still man what I just said.
You just repeated that you have to have a necessary identity state, and I'm going to provide you one.
No, that wasn't my argument. Oh my gosh, dude.
That's not the argument.
No, let me
just respond. Let me. I have one response.
Okay, after that, I want to.
Is it true, right? Is this true? In all possible worlds, that what I identify as me.
No.
Oh my gosh, you can't even let me. You can't even let me talk.
I don't believe in. I don't even get to talk. I don't believe in possible worlds.
No, I don't even get to talk. I just asked if you agree with you.
Qtop disagree, by the way.
So it's just let me finish, and then you can disagree. There's nothing. No one's forcing you to agree. Okay, so is it true that in all possible worlds that the thing I call me exists? That if it exists in all possible worlds.
And if you say you don't believe in possible
this
worlds,
argument has nothing to do with possible worlds at all.
if this is the only world that's possible, then you would just agree with Justin.
Why not?
This argument has nothing to do with possible worlds.
Why?
What do you mean, why? I don't believe possible worlds exist. The unifying principle is necessary.
Yeah, so if this is the only world that's possible,
this has nothing to do with possible worlds.
if this is the only world that's possible, then you just agree with Justin.
I don't believe it's the only one that's possible.
Yeah, you're just assuming.
Then you believe in possible
This world
worlds.
is necessary. It's not the only one that is possible. There's not a like hypothetical. There's not a hypothetical like propositional set of like of worlds that exist.
Is it a category error?
World from the hypothetical set of
Yeah,
worlds.
so if
that
you're
is
saying that
possible.
this world is
what I'm
necessary,
saying is
then
everything is necessary.
yeah, if you're saying that everything is necessary, then Justin's question would just be: in this world, is I equals
It's not
I
in
true?
this world. There is no in this world. Everything is necessary because the essence of God is
Yeah.
necessary.
So do you think that this world exists?
Okay, this world exists as a subsistence of what really exists. Yes.
Cool. Then Justin's question would apply to this world. Answer it.
The just question did not apply just to this world. He said possible world.
Because once you agree with me, then I've provided a necessary identity state to refute P1, and therefore P1 fails.
What are you talking about? Justin, you don't understand my argument.
Can I
Justin,
speak?
you literally, what are you talking about?
Can I make sense of this?
Oh my God.
Jesus, bro.
Hero, muzzle yourself. I'm allowed philosophy to. Unless Qtop wanted to defend a position.
No,
it's nothing to defend. Justin didn't even give an objection. It's nothing. It's really nothing
Qtop,
to
I think I
defend.
can make a better point with this. Like, I think the issue that we have with hypothetical worlds is deriving truth values out of them. And the way I think CryptKit talks about it is through like this necessary modal operator. That's just going off memory. I'm probably wrong about that. But basically the idea is like identity statements can be expressed in hypothetical worlds because in every hypothetical world, if I imagine my hat in it, it will necessarily be the case. It is always my hat. That's just going to be analytically true.
But Qtop's a
And so through
necessitarian.
that grant, hold on, bro. You need to not assume I'm done speaking. Right? I'll mute myself when I'm done. What I'm saying is, if you have access to these hypothetical worlds, that means there's some element of truth there. And the way I think I would translate that to you, Qtop, would be like there's some aspect of godliness that governs that as well. And so that gives reason to believe in hypothetical realities or something like that.
Yeah, I just don't believe in possible worlds. I'm a necessitarian. I believe in absolute divine simplicity. The essence of God is necessary, therefore the God is not composite. So whatever God is, he's necessary identical to. So I don't believe that there's any possible worlds that can happen besides perfection. Yeah, because God is perfect. So to say that God can instantiate any other world than what He did, would it say that God's not perfect? Because perfection implies an exclusive and indispensable propositional set that can only be the case if it is perfect. And the propositional set of God's actions are perfect because God is the most perfect. God is perfection itself. He's not the most perfect. He is perfection. So to say that God can do anything else than what He did would be to say that there's another propositional set of actions that could be more perfect than what God already did. Perfection is exclusive and indispensable. So I believe because God's essence is necessary and because God is not composite, that means that everything that God is, He's identical to. So even His own actions is identical to His essence, which means His actions are necessary. So that's why I'm a necessitarian. And also,
Will you answer Justin's question now?
RH, 1 second. RH, stop speaking.
Okay.
You can't, you literally have a
Wait,
problem,
more meta?
bro.
More meta?
You actually have a real problem.
I said okay, now you're doing more meta? Got it.
So what I'm saying is, right, this necessary identity state there's no possible world. It's not just like it's necessary in all possible worlds. It's necessary and it's just necessary. There's no possible. It's not necessarily possible, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is necessarily necessary, right? I'm not saying that.
Hold on, to be clear, it's not a statement about the ontological status of possible worlds. It's about access to them and about what could be epistemically justified from that.
Oh, you're talking about epistemology. Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, but if you have access,
I got you.
But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where it gets interesting for the idealist, which is what my view.
I'm an idealist. I'm an objective idealist.
Okay, well, in my type of idealism is like what's rational is what's real, right? And so if there's access to them, that grants some reifying aspect of hypothetical worlds that give it some consideration above something that doesn't exist.
No, that's fine. I'm fine with granting possibility in terms of like in terms of like your epistemic, just like in your ontology. Yeah, I don't grant possible worlds.
Eelis, I have a question for you. So, what's going to be the contention? I know Qtop already elaborated, but I want to hear from you that when Ismar posits that real existence is going to be real existence, what's going to be the problem with that?
Well, I mean, like, it depends what he means by real existence. But if I go off what I think it means, it's going to be Just that the argumentation for that is only going to be from a place of extreme skepticism, and that extreme skepticism will serve as a justification in part of an argument that's part of a broader argument. Like, the issue, what he's asking for is almost circular in the sense that where the argument needs to take him is going to be some sort of reifying aspect of like reality being rational, and Qtop maybe would have to like justify that as part of a broader part of his argument in a way, but like to me, what Qtop is saying is just going to be true as part of a larger argument.
No, but you're jumping the gun. You in your head, you're already saying it's true.
Well, I mean, if I'm it would follow as part of a larger argument.
That's fine, but what's the justification to get to that conclusion?
Oh, well, that's just going to be the argument. Okay, well, it would just be something like being can only be understood as indeterminate existence. It collapses into a state, like a set of vacuousness. That vacuousness then has some sort of propositional description, or you could just say like it's vacuity in its purest form, grants it being. And that tension then leads to becoming as part of the logical process that underpins reality.
So you would say...
And then through this process, you can follow...
Yeah, I'm not trying.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. It's very complicated because it takes...
That's very sophisticated for them.
Wait,
Elias, but
I have a question.
To be clear, what I'm saying is, like, to ask Qtop to do this is like 5 years of university studying a single guy.
Look, I have a question. So you would...
Well, like, not even that. Like, I would say I did 2 years.
I have a question. So you would say that Qtop's view on necessitarianism is just trivially false, right?
Not... what do you mean?
Yeah, because you applied that being requires some stochastic nature or some indeterminacy, and if Qtop is a necessitarian, he holds to determinism necessarily, right? Analytically.
No, being... Okay, I should have been more clear. Being in its immediacy. Its most immediate moment.
I don't know that. Like, you're saying that you could have failed to exist or something?
No, I'm saying that if I'm trying to understand what existence is, this is how I would go about it.
Wait, no, wait, I'm saying, where in being does the stochastic nature arise? Are you just saying at the instance of instantiation?
For something to be in its purest form, the way Hegel asks you what to do is to engage in what he calls speculative sentences, which would be something like, what is thought without proposition?
It would be like thinking about the question, like, is it raining? Like, that's not propositional.
No. What is that? Okay, I'll give a little bit of a thought experiment then to illuminate the point. If I were to take an embryo and I were to snap my fingers and through some sort of magical power, the embryo was just disconnected from the external world. All the senses, everything was just before, like at the very instant it was conceived, that was the case. It was just going to be determined. It had no experiences. Well, what would be the contents of that mind?
Okay, and you're saying pondering over that is like,
Well, that to me is indeterminate being.
Okay, but
it's being, but also at the same time, it's nothing.
I mean, it's something. We just don't know the mental states of that thing.
No. If I'm saying, what is the content of those thoughts?
Yeah, not knowing. Wait, but not. You would agree that not knowing.
What I'm saying to you, man.
Wait, stop! I'm talking.
You're arguing against the speculative question.
I'm asking you a question about it, right? And I would appreciate if you let me ask it. We would agree, right, that saying that we know what is going on in the mind of that thing, and that there could or could not be something going on in the mind of that thing is a different question.
Okay, I'm asking you. I'm using a thought experiment.
Is that it? Do you agree or no?
I mean, if you disagree with the analogy, that's fine.
I'm asking if you agree with what I just said.
Bro, I don't. It doesn't matter.
Oh my god.
Dude, bro, what? Okay, I agree. Now what?
Cool. Okay, then keep going. It was a clarifying question.
Okay. I disagree. Now what?
Cool. It was a clarifying question.
Okay, so why'd you ask the question? Like
to know your answer. To better understand your position. Obviously. What do you mean?
What I'm saying is, what I'm asking you to do right now is to use your imagination.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, and I'm saying a set of thinking that has no content. What does that mean to you? The best way to describe that would be indeterminate existence. Do you agree with that?
unknown existence. Like indeterminate means that there's some like, way that it could have been another like way at the moment of like, whatever level.
That's actually the opposite of what it's saying. It's saying that there is like the reason why I'm asking you to engage in speculative sentences, because even me saying it's undetermined gives it some sort of conceptual determinacy. It's so undetermined I can't even give a proposition to it. Right? So I'm asking you to think about that, and whatever that means, the best way I can translate that thing in your mind to the words I'm saying is it's indeterminate being.
Okay, and you think that we're like that in the analogous...
No, that's not saying anything about us yet. This is just about existence.
Cool, yeah, but I'm saying if there's some indeterminateness to being, then you would strongly disagree with any views that rely on determinism.
Well, no, what I'm saying... No, man. What I'm saying is in its immediacy, its indeterminateness could be understood as vacuousness. But... what is the content?
Vacuous meaning like containing no things or something?
Yeah, it's precisely. What is the contents of a vacuum? Nothing.
I mean, wait, does this thing still have sense data?
No. We're talking about reality, let's say right now. Just forget the senses, everything. Let's talk just we understand that we agreed that being is indeterminate, or existence, is indeterminate being. Correct? But what seems to be, you should have skepticism to look at this and be like, well, yeah, okay, fine. But if it's so indeterminate, it's a vacuum, it's just nothing. And that seems to be a contradiction, correct?
Wait 1 second. Okay, I have a question before I can answer that question.
Well, hold on, let me get to the...
No, I need to clarify what we're saying, because I want to know that I'm referencing the same like hypothetical. We took a fertilized egg, right? And are we imagining that grew up in like some like input?
No, I'm asking you to imagine a mind in a universe or whatever.
Okay, that has...
I'm talking because this is an argument about reality. It's not an argument about a person.
Okay, so a mind existing in reality with no...
The universe is a process.
With no way to gather sense data, right?
No, I'm saying that being itself, what does being mean itself? It means in its immediacy, indeterminate, or it's just indeterminate. It is, but it's indeterminate.
Yeah, but what's the motivation?
But because it's so vacuous, it collapses into nothing, because that seems to be the only thing that can describe what this indeterminacy is. And then at its purest form, nothing.
Elias, I think you're making the art like they just don't understand. Like
I know. Look, this is page 1 of 870.
Yeah, that's
what
I'm
Wait, you don't just like it.
Yeah,
Look,
Elias, what I'm trying to say to you is like I
actually
propose like a way more like like simpler argument that maybe they'll be able to understand, which is just an argument from pushing the antithesis. It's Greg Bonson's performative argument from pushing the antithesis, and they didn't give any objection to that.
Can we finish that? Can we finish that?
Really kind of like
I was interested in what he was saying,
upon like some sort of like.
Were you just like were you getting anxiety that you hadn't spoken in a long time?
Okay, yeah. So
okay, cool. Then if you can go back on mute, can we finish that?
So yeah, what I was saying is just Elias, like
Qtop,
you're talking to these people.
You disagree with
talking to these people about? Well, look, me and Elias have some differences in our ontology.
Yeah, very blatant ones.
But I will say I do understand what the brother Elias is saying, right? But I'll say this: I know that RH is not going to understand it because he couldn't even understand my argument, and Elias's argument is like literally like 3 times more sophisticated than my argument. I presented a very basic.
Holy shit, bro! Was I asking questions? Wait,
a linear conversation, and now we just have to hear how Qtop doesn't like how we think.
Yeah. Elias, I have a question. Was I asking questions to understand better? Was I asking questions to understand better? Qtop, it's not your turn, actually.
Elias, bro, be honest. Did RH understand anything of what you said? Be honest.
It's not your turn.
I don't want to cast judgment, but like, what I think the broader point I could make here that would like align this is like, I think that the type of argumentation you're expecting from Qtop about this would take probably like 5 years for him to develop.
No, that's not true.
Okay, well, I mean, why don't you grab the science of logic, phenomenology of spirit, critique of pure reason?
Yeah. Read your resume, dude. Read your resume.
Aristotle.
Yeah,
No,
read the
it's on
resume.
my resume. I'm telling you the people you'd have to understand.
I understand, and you're just peacocking, right? You can perform. You can deliver a sound argument by like.
I can. It's going to take me 7 hours.
Look, Qtop. It's not. It's actually not your turn, Qtop.
Like,
don't interrupt our conversation.
Like, fundamentals
So don't
behind the
interrupt.
argument. But like when you get into like the
Holy
further
shit,
like
bro.
ontological like epistemic justification, right? Like.
Was that me? Oh my god. Oh, that was crazy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I crashed out way early, and then Kylo said that we were going to pivot to tag for 2 seconds and then get back to veganism. We all knew that was not going to happen because Qtop was going to just bloviate and explode, and then he did. Like, oh my god. And then I got back at him for LARPing. And then I said that I was LARPing, and then people in the comments said that I was getting cooked. That's great. That's wild. Anyway, subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.